Hey guys, welcome back to the Boosted Conversations podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little different. We're going to be interviewing 15 out of the 16 teams competing in the Collision on the Coast 2 LAN event we are hosting this semester.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know what Collision on the Coast 2 is, it is our land event that we put on every year. It's become an annual thing, with this year's edition taking the course of 2 days, with the first being a group stage, where we'll draw it next Friday night, or this Friday night perhaps, um, the 26th of January at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They'll be live on the VW Esports Twitch account. It'll be Champions League style, with our biggest mix-up coming up in the second pot, where 8 of our middle teams will be dispersed across 4 groups. And then how day one will work is that the group stage will be run. The top 2 teams will qualify to the upper bracket of our day 2 elimination bracket, and the 2 lower teams will qualify to that lower bracket. So those upper teams will start with that life advantage, going into day 2.
Yeah, and I mean, without any further delay, I want to get right into these interviews. So we hope you guys enjoy.
So I'm Evan Neal. My in-game name is Kuro. I'm a junior at Old Dominion, and so I've been on the team for 3 years since the start. So yeah.
Brandon, you want to ask the first question?
Yeah, we'll go into this one. So, the first question we have here on the docket is how long has your specific team, so your starting roster from this past fall and into the spring, been playing together?
So we had tryouts at the start of like last summer. So the longest this team's been together has been like probably 6, 7 months. But we just got a new person from like they just transferred in this semester, so he's only been here for like a week or two. So we're just getting him up to speed, and yeah, so we don't have much experience as a team together.
Honestly, like low experience is probably like the fun time though, because you get to figure out, how everybody plays together and everything. It's kind of like
Yeah.
relearning that game again. Um, Any like in the preparation stage for a LAN, so like, is there anything specific that you guys are gonna do?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is to, continue to play together and then have everyone's hours, up. Because I mean, going into that week, you got to be prepared, and you don't want to go home on a mechanical mistake. Like if you mess up, like strategically, you can go back to the drawing board for that. But just like missing on easy stuff, you don't want to go home like that.
Yeah, it's very
So you're
true.
saying you don't want to go home on a whiff?
Yeah, exactly.
I think we
No,
all
that's
don't want to
very
go home
fair.
on a whiff.
I might kick y'all out if you go home on a whiff, Bailey. That might be the end of it.
Oh no, I whiffed last night pretty hard.
Yeah. Anyways, so kind of building off of that, how would you expect to manage, like any personal pressure, team pressure, school pressure, or expectations, that come with lands like this? Like, are you pretty much cool-headed? How do you think the team's gonna handle it? Stuff like that.
Well, we've only played one other LAN, which was like the MAEC one
Yeah.
with this, and I thought they handled it like pretty well, but I think this time, as a leader, I know what to do differently, and get them in the right headspace and not let them, get into their own heads. And as well, like this tournament's a bit longer than the MAEC one. That one was just like 2 games basically, and that was it. So with this one, there's more time to get into the rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically going through 6 games on day one and then at least a game on day two, and it's gonna be a long weekend, but it should be fun. Is there anything like y'all do specifically to kind of deal with the pressure? Like I know you said you talk with the team, get them in the right headspace, but is there like anything that like ODU does to be like, oh yeah, this is how we chill out, this is how we pump up?
Oh, I mean, of course, the ride over, you got to blast music. We love to play our hype songs, and then right before the game starts, right before it's ticking down, we all lock in. We all say like all do our own like little thing, and then we
Yeah.
start the that gets us into
What's at the top of the hype playlist?
Sexy Red. Honestly, for no god, that's his favorite. That's his go-to is Sexy Red.
There
So
we
Uh,
go.
just
We'll play that
fair.
when you guys walk down onto the main stage again.
that,
Get you guys
yeah.
get you guys really hyped up. On that like hype and stuff. How does the team morale differ in an event like this? I know you said you don't have too much LAN experience and this is longer. How do you think keeping that morale up during this longer event is going to be? How hard or difficult do you think it'll be?
Well, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult just because of the lack of experience, but I think their past achievements, like we've played tough games, we've come out on top, and we've lost a couple like that as well. But it's really just you just gotta believe in yourself, and I think as the captain, I believe in all of my teammates, and I'll pick them up when they make good plays, and when they make bad ones, I'll give them a little look, but I'll still make sure they're in the right headspace. So.
There you go.
That's fair. Awesome. And so I think the biggest question is, what would you say your goal for Collision on the Coast 2 is as a team? I know last year y'all went out, I think, losers 3 to George? Well, no, it wasn't George Mason. It was King. I think King A was the team that knocked him out.
Yeah.
And like even last year, I don't. You said you weren't playing last year, so um, what is the goal for this time around? You back in the squad? You've got new people coming in. What can the fans expect from ODU?
You know, all new roster for this one. No one's ever played in this LAN that's going to be playing for us. So, I'm saying top four, at least. Say
Top
top four.
4.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's solid.
prize pool territory right there. If they can make it reality.
That's solid. So one of the last general questions I'll ask, and it's interesting to see how every team differs from this. But without giving too much away, how do you approach, analyzing and studying your opponents? I know you don't know who you're gonna play yet, you will shortly. But how do you go about kind of doing like game film and stuff like that?
Well, a lot of teams in like the college scene usually I won't say usually, but like there's a good amount of teams where they'll have like one really, really good player and then like just two solid ones. So really it's about finding out who's the biggest threat and then trying to contain them more and see if the other two can beat you.
That's very true.
So I think that's mainly our way of planning, just stay solid because it's a long game. You can always get back into it.
For sure, for sure.
I feel like that definitely stood out in our scrimmage when y'all are screaming, "It's just Braden X. Just cover him. If he's gone, you got this."
He hits rippers and a dominus, like oh my god.
No, that's very fair, and it oftentimes works. Like I've seen it work plenty of times, and of course, y'all found a way to make it work in that scrim. So, yeah. But yeah, so now for I would say the juicier questions of this, the team specific questions. So here, the first question we have for you in this category is: given the close proximity to Wesleyan, would you say that there is a beach rivalry brewing between the two schools, between ODU and Wesleyan?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like every team that's, within like driving distance, you of course have to have some sort of rivalry. Because I mean, we can't all own the coast, you know?
Oh,
Uh, if we play you guys in the tournament, it's extra. That's I mean, we really gotta win that one.
We'll just
yeah.
band together for this one time to make sure one of us wins the coast and not a mainland team, like George Mason or
Yeah,
somebody
like a
like that.
George Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Bring a,
They keep down the
let's,
coast, man.
Yeah,
let's
no.
bring a big drum for whenever they try to hit the ball. Just, just hit it in the background. And be like, "Whoops, sorry about that one. Didn't mean it right then." But yeah, do you want to start with the last question here, Bailey? I think.
Well, I know you mentioned him, new to the team, pea shooter. What are we expecting from him? Can we expect to see him start? What are we thinking?
Well, for us, we don't really have like we lost our like original coach over the semester. He was a graduate student, so he's gone. But, it's really just up to kind of like a game time decision or like the week
I like
of
that.
either we're gonna go with P or with Dan as the third, but me and Goat God are gonna be playing.
I like that. I like that we're starting to see this more in the college scene that it's not like a set three. You've got four and in some cases five guys that can really play in that top team, and it is just whoever's playing better when they warm up is gonna Gonna
Yeah,
play.
and that's something we started out like with the first tryouts. Because I mean, me and Gokad, like we started out like, and they said like, yeah, you guys will be like the starting two, and then the third it'll just rotate with whoever's playing best.
Yeah. Brandon, you
You know,
have
so
any last remarks?
any last remarks? I'm not the one to be asking
Questions?
that too. I mean, I think I gotta turn it over to Kuro. Anyone you want to shout out? Anyone you want to give a warning to going into this collision? I mean, I mean, most of the Virginia schools are there. George Mason. I mean, Nova's gonna be there. William and Mary, Shenandoah. Um, and we got like New Haven coming down. Like Lebanon Valley. Do you have any when you want to call out, put on notice going into this before groups are drawn, before this interview goes out? What are you thinking?
Uh, you know, the one person I do know is Devin on GMU. I played with him for years, and I swear this time I'm gonna get a game off him. At least I'm getting a
There we
game
go.
off of him.
Yep.
I got a game off of him in college yet, so I'm gonna get one.
It's time.
It's time, yeah. It is time. Cool. Well, we appreciate you and your time tonight, Kuro.
Mhm.
We look forward to seeing your gameplay this year at Collision on the Coast. And yeah, any last remarks from you, Bailey?
No, just I think it would go so hard if Wesleyan and ODU got to play each other on main stage. So let's try and make it like that because I actually feel like that would be really hard. That'd be nice.
I'm trying to make main stage, man. Really.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, group stage. You're playing half your games on main stage, so it'll be there. You'll play every single team on main stage in your group, and then from there it just depends on how the placements go into the bracket. But hey, there's a chance we get pulled into the same group even, and then we're playing each other twice, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We'll see. We'll see. Be on the lookout for the group stage draw, but that's all we got for you. So yeah,
Yeah. Is that gonna be like on like a site or something? Like the group stage, like when it's gonna be
we'll
posted?
be live
yeah, we're
streaming it.
gonna live stream it next Friday at 7.
Oh,
Wait, this Friday?
Next Friday.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
Yeah, next Friday at 7. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Gonna do it real like Champions League style. It should
Got
be
the
good.
little soccer balls.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
That'll be
Yep.
cool.
Well, yeah. Thank you guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. We'll let you get back to it.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
Yep, thank you.
Hey guys, I'm T-Han, the Rocket League manager at GMU. I've been here for this is my 4th year currently. I've been the manager for 2 years now, and I've been working with the same boys for I believe a year and a half now, with Titanium, Devin, and Josh Squasher.
Cool, cool. All right, Brandon, I'll let you start this one as well.
Yeah, so the first of a few questions we have for you tonight is, and you kind of already answered it already, but if you want to go a little bit more in depth, is how long has this specific group of players, so Titanium, Josh Squasher, and Devin, been playing together? How long have, like, it may even extend beyond how long you've been managing them, but do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, so it originally started with Josher and Titanium playing with each other at Nova, and playing actually in the CRL National Championship together back in 2019. They've been playing together since then, and then Titanium came over here in 2021. Josher kind of stayed there till about 2023, and Devin came in around the same time. So it originally was we had multiple rosters come in, so we had Devin and Titanium since 2021, with some thirds kind of come in and out, like JK, Krazix, and yeah, that's basically it. And then Joshua came in, I believe it was a year ago. Yeah, exactly a year ago. So he came in last spring, and it wasn't the best start, but we were able to go to some tournaments and basically win a lot of money from them. But
One
we're
of them
hoping
being our own.
one of them being yeah. In fact, yeah, we did. We were the previous collision. What is it? Collision on the Coast.
Yeah,
Yep.
Collision on the Coast.
Collision on the Coast champions. And that was actually without Titanium. That was with Clicky. So we're hoping
Yeah.
to do it again with the full roster this time. And it'll be interesting to see.
Cool.
Yeah. So winning a lot of money, traveling a lot. I mean, so obviously there's not really a secret formula, but what do you guys do like specifically to prep yourselves to go to like an in-person event? Because every team has their own kind of like thing that clicks in their head.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say there's any special preparation for it being on LAN. I will say that usually we don't actually practice in person whatsoever, just because GMU is a big commuter school, with all of our players living about 30 to 40-ish minutes away. However, this semester, because we are going to a lot of in-person events, we do want to prepare ourselves a lot more for in-person events. So we will be practicing every like Monday and every like week, so in person, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah.
All right.
Cool. Yeah. And so, with these in-person events, these LAN events, how you could answer it from like the manager perspective or even the team perspective. How do you manage the pressure and expectations coming into an event like this?
So I won't say, usually my players are actually very calm going into them. It helps when, I mean, Joshua and Titanium played on the national championship stage. So usually anything compared to that, there isn't as much pressure, fortunately for them. And Devin, I mean, Devin's just chill. He will literally just vibe the entire time, just chilling. And yeah, usually they're like, I as a manager, I'll be behind them stressing like crazy. But just because I can't do anything for them. But they're always locked in and never really stressing.
But
Yeah.
the stress thing comes with like, you know, a morale kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Um, so like I know there's been tough situations, you know, like game sevens, stuff like that. In those like specific situations, how do you try and keep the team morale high as a manager? Like, what are you telling these guys to not let them get in their heads?
Basically, just tell them to keep doing what they've been doing. Don't change anything, especially if it's been close games. It could literally go anyone's way. And thankfully, these guys are always confident to close out the game sevens, game fives, stuff like that. So I'm usually not worried for them. But yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah. And you led to it in the beginning. You said you were champions of Collision on the Coast, the inaugural events. Are the same goals there? Are you coming in with that mission in mind to win it and take it all home again?
Same goals are there, obviously. I think this year there's actually going to be a lot better competition. Not saying last year wasn't, but I think last semester we had a sub in, I think we went like 14-1 or 14-2 in the whole tournament. So definitely definitely hoping for some better. And I've looked at the teams, and I mean this land is gonna be pretty stacked in terms of competition. You see teams like UCF, who's been up there in the past, previous CRL teams. You got Nova, who we actually just played and went to game 5, game 7 against in the MAC. So teams that are definitely gonna have us. I forgot the saying, but gonna be competing a lot harder than possibly last year's. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited personally, and I know my boys are.
Yeah.
Cool.
I know you don't know who you're playing yet. We find that out next week.
Hmm.
But how do you approach like, you know, analyzing and studying opponents? I know most teams do game films, some do like scrimmages against certain play styles. I mean, without giving too much away, obviously, how do you approach this kind of preparation?
Yeah, for sure. Basically, we go into it obviously with scrimmages each week. We don't really have a coach per se, but we kind of have the players just go over replays together as a group and understand what they're doing wrong and where they should be positioning themselves a lot better. I feel like that can be our key struggle at times, but other than that, I mean, the boys can adjust however, and if they need to they'll start tilting the other team however they can. So that's
Right.
that's one thing I know Josh loves to do personally. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna add the buff that throw out this first team specific question here because I feel like I gotta go off that. When it comes to on stage antics, You said Josh or Squasher loves to annoy teams. Is there anything that any of the other team members try to do to kind of get in the heads, or is it mainly just Josh or Squasher?
So, well, I always have to put a leash on Josh. Pause. But
Whoa.
Uh,
no, like so for instance at Hugh Fest this past fall, we had a fun time, not the best outcome we had, but we had Devin there the entire time and everyone's in one big room there. And so all competing at the same time, by the way. And so Devin is just screaming at the top of his lungs anytime a goal is scored, and everyone's turning around like, "Who is this guy?" And it's even funnier because everyone's right next to each other, and we actually had the St. Louis University League of Legends team in front of us, and they straight up asked us like, "Hey, can you guys keep it down?" And Devin said no and just kept screaming. It was yeah, Devin's the biggest goofball on the team for sure. But yeah, we just kind of have fun with it, you know. Don't take it too serious. I mean, obviously we should, but you know, they're in it for probably one or two more semesters, so they're just there for the fun of it.
Yeah.
no, that's fair.
I mean,
And
at
I
the
even
end
want
of...
to.
Go ahead.
Oh, me go ahead. I mean, I know even last time at Collision, you had a little bit of a crowd come down that followed you to the event. Are we gonna expect the same sort of following down this time round? At least for maybe main day, like
Who knows? Who
bracket day,
knows?
or
I definitely want to get some boys out there. It was actually our boys from the Val team just wanted to come down for the one day. So it is a 2-day event this time. So we'll see. I know we have to find ourselves either an Airbnb or hotel. So may not have the budget to bring them all down, but we'll try and get them down the final day to come hype us up and hopefully bring Collision on the Coast a big big fan section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always the hope. Now, when we look at the registration for GMU,
Mm-hmm.
you're listed as a substitute. Could we maybe see a LAN debut in the group stage on the first day? You will be playing each team twice, so maybe a LAN debut?
Maybe. Ooh, who do we got here? Who do we got here? See, there is Virginia Wesleyan, and my boy Braided used to be at GMU, so I don't know, man. Previous manager versus former or current manager, I don't know. We may have to step up.
That'd be a fun one. That would be a fun one.
yeah. When I sat there, when I opened up the registration, I was putting stuff in. I was like, instantly messaged Bailey and Braden. I'm like, guys, there's a chance. There's a chance we see him in action. But
Yeah, so I am full time this semester. I've actually been part time like past year, so finally back to full time. Hey, you guys are lucky that Memory's not full time. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, we are. We are.
hey, I mean, he could still come if he wants. Come down, coach the boys, be there, manager and coach appearance. Who knows?
Who knows with this RLCS season, man? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
a whole
even
nother
then-
conversation. Oh my
Yeah.
lord.
we're still waiting on CRL, please.
Oh my gosh, if we even get that, let's hope.
Yeah,
Ah.
open. But the last thing, the last words we will let you have before we disperse from this interview. Are you calling? You want to call anyone out? Do you want to shout anyone out? Do you want to put some teams on notice going into Collision on the Coast too?
See, there's all the MAC teams like ODU, Shenandoah, Nova that are coming down that we've all played, and see, there's always drama with us and ODU, Shen, and Nova. But my eyes, I'm not gonna lie, my eyes are looking at UCF right now. We've scrimmed them actually a good amount of times this off season, and they're a really solid team. And if I have to give it to anyone with the current team signed up, I think it's either us, UCF, or possibly Nova that take it all. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. But
Yeah.
in recent results, current competitive results, I was looking. Y'all beat them. You beat UCF in NACE playoffs 4-1, if my memory serves me right. So
Yep, yep.
competitively, you have the edge against them.
Well, yes and no. I will say I don't think they were playing at their highest level. I don't think they were preparing that much just because they were kind of over NACE probably and didn't have anything else. But this offseason they've looked pretty solid. So I wouldn't sleep on them at all. And I mean, one thing I've done in the past is sleep on teams and It's came back to bite us in the butt. So no more of that.
Yeah.
All locked in and ready to go.
Of course, of
Cool.
course.
Well,
Cool.
then
Well-
that's probably where we'll leave it. We appreciate you, giving us your time on a Wednesday night. It was a really random Wednesday night. So we appreciate it. We
Of course.
appreciate hearing from you. Look out for the group stage drawing
Can't wait
Friday.
for it.
Yeah, next
This Friday?
Next
Next Friday?
Friday.
Gotcha,
Next
gotcha.
Friday, 7 p.m. You'll learn your fate for day one, and
We,
who
me and
knows?
the,
maybe
me and the boys will be watching it.
yeah, maybe
Sweet.
you'll know if you can make your appearance against Braided Ass.
Oh, I can't wait. Hey, y'all better rig that. Y'all better rig it. So...
No, we can be talking like that. No, we're not allowed to rig our own turn. Okay, Bailey, cut it here. Maybe we will.
I mean, we
But
did
no,
place in
no.
our own tournament last year, so I mean,
Hey,
that was-
hey, y'all did pop up. Y'all were a sleeper team. I'm not gonna lie.
hell yeah.
Right, my crowning moment. I'll stay on this, and I can't wait for Marcy to talk about this when we interview him. Was my dunk over? I think it was Winsey, and just smashing it
Oh,
down
near
for
him,
Garrett to
yup.
slam home.
Yup.
And like that was the crowning moment. I'm like, I've peaked. This is where it ends, and like I'm cool with that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Garrett Kellum. I go by the in-game name of Braided Axe. I'm an SSL in Rocket League. I started the Rocket League team at George Mason, transferred to Virginia Wesleyan, and I'm on my second year here.
I'm an SSL in Rocket League.
I'm keeping that in. So, look,
I'm SSL in Rocket League.
but see, he is,
Only
though.
one that's put their rank so far. That's why I'm making fun of it.
It's cool. It's cool. We'll keep it. All right. So I'm going to let Brandon ask the first question because, I mean, you can answer it, but I can also answer it. But yeah.
Yeah, so going into Collision on the Coast, I mean, we all know the answer to this, but just for the viewers to know, the outside people, how long has a specific group of you, Bailey, and Jalen been playing together?
What, this will be our second year now playing together? We did have, a semester break in between?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. No, that was.
Well,
that's
this is Jalen, Garrett, and I's
Reverse.
first.
Reverse?
First
As
full.
a trio with
First
Jalen.
full.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh,
remember the
because I
trio-
guess he was a sub the first year I was here.
No,
Oh, no.
Jalen wasn't the sub.
It was
Bailey was
yeah,
starting on
I-
B team.
I'm getting my things confused. Where am I?
You're forgetting. It was me, you, Jalen,
It was it was me
and then
okay.
Bailey swapped in for him at the start
in
of
the
spring
spring.
semester.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Jalen came back.
This
In the
semester.
fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so we really don't. Yeah, it's only his first year. Okay.
This is our second semester together. Holy crap. I
already
haven't said that
gotten
out loud yet. That's
We
All
got
right.
the first question wrong, and we all knew the answer.
You knew the answer.
Yeah.
I'm in
Okay.
La La Land.
all right. So,
After that fudge of a question, Bailey, go on to question 2.
so all right. So, are there
Oh,
any
that's smart,
specific
man.
preparations that we're gonna undergo for an in-person event? Do you think?
As a team,
Yeah.
or as just like hosting the event kind of thing.
Let's just do it as a team playing. Hosting is a different conversation.
Yeah. As a team, it's going to be a lot more grinding, especially once we get into the school year.
Mhm.
We need to be. I know we have twice a week kind of practices. I think we needed to be doing at least 3, like playing in rank, playing in scrims, just grinding it out. I know last year, Bailey, you had crazy grinding through like
Sometimes
for like
Bailey
the
and I
month
were in there like
before.
every day.
I know.
I know.
life.
Like at
And it
noon, we were
showed.
in there. Yeah.
And it showed a hell of a lot come LAN because everyone was surprised to hear like you guys were like GC1 and like they're only GC1 kind of thing. They thought you were like GC3 at least.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
guys showed out on that in last year's LAN.
Where I had to do it to him. But yeah, no. So next question is, how would you expect? I mean, everything's kind of riding on us because we are the home team. We have the home field advantage, right? That's 1. We're
Okay.
we have the home crowd. That's 2. Third, we outplayed our seed last year and qualified into the prize pool spots.
Yep.
All of this is building to another culmination Collision on the Coast too.
Mhm.
So how would you expect to manage the pressure and expectations put on ourselves from last year's event and just the season in general so far going into this year's edition?
Well, I like to go by the saying, give low expectations and then overexceed them.
Yep.
So, like, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna shoot for like 8th place, and I'm really hoping for like 4th or 3rd. But
mean,
I
that's
think
fair.
the biggest teams we have to worry about is George Mason and Lubbock Christian.
Yeah.
We can beat Shenandoah. We have beaten New Haven, although they have a relatively new team.
No, it's the same roster.
It's the same
Oh.
roster. What am I thinking of then? What was the other team that you said they got rid of? Like basically their whole roster.
I mean, you're also forgetting UCF. I mean, UCF's coming up, so
UCF's new, so I'm not sure what to expect from them.
yeah. I mean, honestly, that's fair. I mean, anything could go down. I mean, that's the beauty of having that group stage is getting to see every single team play essentially. Because like
Yeah.
we'll be playing against teams in our group, and then we'll be hanging around all day getting to see every other team play. So get that inside knowledge going into day 2. But
Mhm.
no, I mean the low expectation thing worked for us last year. I mean, we told ourselves like, I mean, we even had a plan for how we were going to go out of the tournament. I think going into last year's event, like okay, win King B, lose King A, win second, and then lose out. So we're going even on
see,
the day.
we won against King B, beat King A, and they were like, wait, what do we do from here?
Yeah,
our
whole plan
plan
out
was
the window at that point. Like,
everything else was a win from then on. It was just
I just
Yeah.
drank. I drank my like whatever it was ghost energy, and then like took off. I was like, yeah, this is where we're going.
so
Consume the hopium.
Yep.
it's I mean, with like last year with us, it's important to have like a high team morale when you go into these things. So how do you keep morale high in like tough situations? So like you go down 2 games at a best of 5 or something like that. How do you try and keep morale up to turn the tide into your favor?
You see, I'm a big fan of fuck around and find out, regardless of
Yeah.
which way it goes, good or bad.
Yep. That's fair.
So things start to get worse. Just start fucking around with it.
Yeah.
Demoing, chasing.
Should have
Tell
done that
Jalen
last
just
night.
to go, hit everyone.
Don't
Tell Bailey to
apologize
go back
for
to
it.
his tell Bailey to go back to his year and a half ago form of just bumping everything in sight.
Yeah. That was a phase.
Special
Definitely.
Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Demo King Bailey essentially.
I have had that title king to me in the past. Yes, sometimes.
But yeah, no.
And now you think it's
so-
cringy every time you get demoed.
It is very
And I
cringe.
think
If
it's super ironic.
if you demo me, you are cringe. If I demo you, it is a play.
I can't wait for that to happen on LAN. And
No,
just be
no,
like,
no,
it was
no.
a play. It was a play.
I'll start screaming across. It was a play.
I'll get a sign made that says it was a play and hold it above his head whenever he does it.
Yeah.
he's gonna get bumped into someone else, and we're gonna score, and he's gonna calculate it. Just spam that in chat. Just
Meant to do it.
calculate.
Meant to do it.
Yeah. Anyways, so we've talked about it slightly throughout this few minutes we've been here, but we have setting low expectations going in, but realistically, what would you say the team's goals for Collision 2? It doesn't even have to be a placement. Just what would you say would be the team's goal for Collision on the Coast 2?
Beat Nova.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gunning for. It's
That's
Nova.
a pretty good goal, actually.
Like we said earlier like you said about the demos earlier. Cringe. Their whole play style is cringe.
That's
I
very
hate
true.
it. I hate playing against them. They're so annoying.
Yeah. So that actually leads into the next question, right? So when you look at, I mean, obviously we don't know who we're playing yet, who's exactly in our group. We know who's coming.
Yeah.
Pause.
Ayo.
How do you approach studying and analyzing, opponents before a tournament? Like, as a team, are we going to be looking at film? Are we going to be what's the plan there?
I'll be honest. There's some teams we're just not going to bother with looking at film with.
That's very true.
GMU, Lubbock. I'm just that's kind of out the window. I'm expecting them to
They're
be
a
the
little
top
too
seeds.
far gone. Yeah.
Yeah. ODU, their A team.
Yeah.
I think we should watch film on them. New Haven. I think we
Yep.
should watch film on them because that was a really close matchup both times.
It was fun.
It was a really good game. I enjoyed playing against them.
Yeah.
I think those are the two we should focus heavily on. I am not too familiar with others, possibly Shenandoah.
Yeah.
And definitely Nova. Definitely Nova.
Yeah.
That's fair. And honestly, to round out this interview, we've talked about them a lot. I know what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to ask it anyway. As the captain of Virginia Wesleyan A, Virginia Wesleyan Rocket League, who are we putting on notice? Who would you like to call out? Would you like to shout anybody out on the positive end of it? But who's on the Virginia Wesleyan watch out list?
Nova, we're coming for you. Hey, yo.
Pause.
Jeez.
Oh
But yeah,
my
no, I mean
days.
that's completely fair. I think, yeah, I mean they know after Game Mason last year that there's gonna be some payback that had to be had, and hopefully we get it here, and then get the best of 3 series at Game Mason going. So
Yep.
the end all be all, but yeah, no, we want to thank you for your time this evening, joining us here. I know we'll be hearing from the B team
Sometime.
sometime here in this list of interviews, but yeah.
I'll represent the B team.
Thank you for having me, guys.
See ya.
Yep.
All right. Hi, I'm Alex. In game, I'm Lasharkus. I'm the captain of the B team. A champ 1, and I've been on the VW esports roster for 4 or 5 semesters now. So I'm pretty excited for the LAN event, though. You know, it's gonna be our second one, and hopefully we'll do better than last year.
Yep. I mean, who isn't excited? All right, so Brandon, I'll let you. Oh wow, I'll let Brandon. You keep the streak of asking the first question.
Oh, you want me? I
Yeah,
feel like I
keep
hype
the
up this
streak.
first question.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. All right. So first question we have here should be pretty straightforward. Nice little icebreaker one. How long has the specific group of players on B team been playing together? And you could kind of go into all of them, or if like you have your core players, you could answer that.
Well, it's interesting because we've kind of had some mixing and matching because we did have BHOS last year, and he's gone. He graduated, obviously. And we added Gavin into the mix. So really, we've only been playing together since this summer, or since last summer, I guess, summer 2023. And I mean, in all things considered, we didn't even play that much over the summer. We really didn't start playing together until August or so. So we haven't even been playing together that long. I'm sure some of the teams coming to land are going to be, coming in with years of experience playing together and, a much higher chemistry level than we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that brings up a great point about team chemistry in general, and I think Bailey can ask this next question. That might lead us right into this next
Yeah,
question here.
I think when we made this document, there definitely wasn't an idea of how to segue into these questions, but I think everybody's done a pretty good job of setting me up to slam the second question down. Are there any specific preparation that the team is going to undergo or has undergone in the past? Because last year, in preparation for a LAN like this.
So hopefully, because again, I'm B team captain, I need to like really start setting these things up, and I need to get especially Stefan. He's kind of hard to reach when he's at home. Um, and I'm hoping that we can get people together just to run some scrims, run against other organizations, other programs, just to get ourselves ready again, get our chemistry back flowing again. But the end of last season, we were really starting to get into the swing of things. We started keeping games a lot closer than we had been. We started winning games that we would have lost earlier in the season, and I think part of the problem with winter break is we're definitely going to lose some of that chemistry that we had at the end of the season. And I think that hopefully scrimming multiple times a week will kind of help boost that back up to where it was.
For sure. And I can even say that like A team lost some stuff over winter
Mm.
break. When you take a long break like that, you're going to have chemistry issues.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one advantage that some schools have over us is that some are already back in session. Whereas if you're not taking a J term at Wesleyan, I mean, you're home until the last weekend of January, and you
Unless
have
you're
like
Yeah,
new.
I don't come back till the 28th.
yeah, so you have literally like two weeks to
Yeah.
prepare
Mm.
between then and collision. So it'll be
Unless
a
you're
rough
me, and then you just
whatever you.
yeah, yeah.
Next, but anyway, this third question here is, you know, I don't know where your expectation levels for this year are yet, and we'll get into that in this question. But we
Yeah.
have last year. We know collision did not go the way for B team,
No,
straight up.
no,
So
I still have all the numbers memorized. We played 4 total games, conceded 27 goals, scored once. So, like
so
it
yeah,
was painful. The numbers are seared into my head because of it.
yeah. So how would you expect to manage the pressure and expectations that you have for yourself and maybe the team has for itself going into collision on the coast too?
Well, I will say last time we were definitely hoping we didn't know what the competition level was really going to be like till we were out there. And we were really kind of like, oh, maybe we could keep the series competitive. Maybe we can just like, take a game. We were really aiming to take one game last time. And, went out there, we got absolutely smashed in the first series. Second series was a little closer, but it still didn't go very well. Um, but I think our expectations for this time should be about the same. We're gonna have a lot more games this time, which is part of the reason why I'm really looking forward to this. Because last time we got 2 series total, and this time we're guaranteed, I think at least what, 3 or 4 or something like that,
So
and it's gonna
based on registration numbers, we'll actually be guaranteed 7.
okay, so
So,
there you go. So, like, we're going from a guaranteed 4-game minimum to a guaranteed 21
yep,
game minimum.
yeah.
So it's just I think last time we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into, and we didn't really prepare as hard as we could have because we thought it was going to be not as crazy as it ended up being in terms of the skill gap. So, hopefully this time, we're a lot better prepared mentally and a lot more prepared to, go down big in the first game or two and just kind of be able to bounce back from it as opposed to just immediately hanging our heads like we did last time.
Yeah, and that actually leads perfectly into the next question, if I can get to it. So, Rocket League, I mean, most sports, it's important for team morale to stay high. How hard is it? How do you what's the plan for keeping the team morale high? Because it is now a 2-day event. You're guaranteed to play at least one game on day 2 or one series. So you have, no matter, you could lose every game in groups, but you still got to come out that second day and, come out swinging in a double elim bracket. So how do you
Right.
keep that morale high?
So really what we have is called Kevin. He does a really good job of keeping team morale high. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of right now is just he does a great job keeping the team morale high. Even if he's not playing, he's still all smiles. He's still, he's the glue guy for the team. And I think really that's kind of an underrated thing. And I think that in terms of team morale, that's like the biggest thing. Um, I'm hoping that after the first day, I'm planning on trying to get everyone together for a team dinner and hopefully just, even if it goes terribly, we can still kind of just laugh it off, just have a nice dinner and just go from there. Um, and then hopefully for the second day, that'll kind of be a big reset, would just be like having a team dinner, getting it all back together, and just going from there.
So what I'm hearing is Nando's 2 nights in a row, right, guys?
Oh my
Yeah, I mean, that's how it works
God.
for me.
I'm not. Jeez, that's a lot of money there.
That is
Maybe.
a lot of money though.
Uh, well, speaking of morale and just Collision 2 in general, would you say as B team captain, do you have any goals for the team coming in?
Our main goal right now is to just stay competitive. Like that's really it. If we can take a series, if we could take, if we could take a series or two, that would be fantastic. Just make a good showing of ourselves because last time we really went out there and just we were out of contention within like 2 hours. Like it was just over. And so this time, hopefully we're just going to make a better showing of ourselves, and hopefully we can keep it a little more competitive than we did last time.
Yeah. And I mean, keeping it competitive. Last thing that I'll ask before we ask you just the final question that we've been asking everybody else. So, in an event like this, and in multiple scenarios, you would want to approach and do analyzation on the team that you're going to play.
Analysis, you mean?
Yeah,
What kind of
we're good
English
at
was
English. I
that?
failed English, bro. We all know this.
Oh
We've
my
been over this
gosh.
multiple times on this podcast.
Uh,
How do you approach studying and analyzing opponents before a tournament like this?
Well, the hard part is that there is that massive skill gap that I referred to earlier. And so when you talk about analyzing teams, I think we have to come at it from a much different angle than a lot of other teams would. Because like when we're talking about like, oh, they're really fast in the air, it's like, well, that's fine, but like we don't know specifically what they'll even do in the air because we don't even know how to get up there fast enough. And so I think in terms of analyzation, we're just gonna have to really make it bare bones as possible so that we all kind of are on the same page, because what I analyze may not be on the same technical level as somebody else on the team.
Mhm.
And so I need to really be able to communicate it in layman's terms and really kind of communicate it, um, and make sure that we're all on the same page. If we're gonna really try to push a team upfield, if we're really gonna try to, maybe we have to sit back a game just because we know that they're gonna be, triple committing all game, they're gonna be passing all game. We
Mhm.
just really have to kind of communicate that. And I think in terms of analysis, that the hard part is the fact that we are the B team. We haven't been playing as long. We haven't been playing as long together, and um, I think that would make it a little bit difficult to analyze a team that we're about to play. Although I will say that I think if we kind of just get down to it, we have a minute. Are we allowed to take timeouts during a series?
in
Or
day 2, you are allowed, and day
okay,
1, no, because it's best of
okay.
threes.
All right, I got you. So the reason why I asked is because if we had that timeout and I could really kind of communicate, get my points across, and just go from there, that would be helpful. But obviously, it's a group stage. There's gonna be a lot of games going on. We don't really have time for that. Um, so I will say that I think that big thing about analysis is just the fact that not everyone's on the same level in terms of technical understanding and technical ability, and so
Mhm.
going from there, it's gonna be difficult. But hopefully we're able to kind of stick it through.
Yeah.
No. No, that's very fair. And like you said, like one of the interesting things that we're going to do is that the group stage is going to be split in half. So you'll play half the
Mm.
games. You'll play every team once in the morning, and then every team once again in the afternoon. So you could use that middle time if you wanted to go back and consider like what went
Oh,
wrong in
sweet.
those
Yeah.
games and get
Mhm.
used to that going into the second session. So yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, so
but
that'll be big.
yeah, the final question that we've asked every
Mhm.
team and we've gotten a wide variety of answers on so far is if you had to, and
Mhm.
I'll post a list here that you could see in this
Yeah.
chat. That's who we all have coming down this year.
Okay.
Do you want to shout any team out? Do you want to call any team out? Put them on the radar for VWU Academy team going into Collision on the Coast 2.
See, I can't say anything because if I do, then whoever's on these teams is gonna come whoop our ass. But
Yeah.
but I mean, I guess it would be I mean, it would be nice to be able to play one of the other academy teams, one of the other B teams out there just to see where we're at in terms of, other schools' B teams. Um but that's just in general. It's not like, oh yeah, we're just gonna beat them. No, I just want to see where we're at. But there are some big names that are coming down, or up. Mason, they're like 5 minutes from my house. Nova's 5 minutes from my house. So that'll be cool. But other than that, I don't really see anything too spectacular here other than just, hopefully we're able to kind of prove ourselves.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate your time tonight coming on for this interview.
Mm.
First of the session, but yeah,
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Yep. See
yeah,
ya.
no problem.
See you.
Well, my name is Chris Johnson. I'm the esports head coach at Columbia International University. This is my first year overseeing the program, but the third year the program has been in existence at CIU. Right now, we offer teams for 3 titles. We have Rocket League, obviously, Overwatch 2. and then Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This year, we've had the pleasure of a growing roster, and so we've had the opportunity to grow our Rocket League team into 2 teams. We have a Grand Champ 2 team, and we have a Champ 3 team, who are all performing very, very well this year, as well as an Overwatch team, top 500, and then a developing Overwatch team as well. And this is our very first year running Smash Ultimate, so we're very, very proud at the ground we have gained here in the first few years.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here tonight. I think the trend is going to be I keep asking the first questions here.
Yeah.
So, um, actually, we might just need to skip over this first question, but I mean, we could ask it again. Specifically going into Rocket League, you can answer this for both teams. How long has those specific groups of players been together playing Rocket League?
Great question. So our 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 gold team, our GC2 team, those are the original. That is 2 of the original 3. So we do have 6 players, and it's kind of complicated if you're not looking at it on paper. We have our 3 OG Rocket League players who have been dispersed among the 2 teams. I broke one of them off of gold team to coach and lead the blue team, and to continue to develop those players while we had another recruit come in and take his place. And they have been performing amicably. So for CIU, our 3 OG recruits are still here, and they're all performing very, very well this year.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
So when it comes to like online events, obviously the preparation's different than, just, online events and LAN events are different. So are there any specific preparations that your team's going to undergo to get ready for an in-person event?
Well, we have this past year, well, I should say every year we have a kickoff event for our campus, for our esports program. We invite the entire student body. We partner with IT and our AV production crew. We bring all of our players on stage with PC setup so that they can perform and scrimmage in front of their peers, in front of their faculty members, in front of other staff. And it's a really cool way to see some faces for a team who's normally only showcased online. Like many esports programs, if you come to spectate our games, you're watching Twitch or you're watching something else. And we don't have cameras on our players in our arena. So if you want to see their faces, you would come to this event. But in response to your question, how are they preparing for an in-person event? This group of individuals does not have that stage jitter that may be typical for other folks. We have a lot of dual sport athletes in our esports program. We have baseball players and soccer players and track players all in our program right now, who are used to being spectated, who are used to hearing their names over an announcement speaker. So they have that courage or maybe that immunity to the nerve that may be typical for folks who aren't in front of the camera. Some of the things that we're working on this season to ensure that we're the sharpest we've ever been, as we are working through a concept I got out of a book from James Clear called Atomic Habits. And the concept we're working through is the aggregation of incremental gains. We want to find 3 or 5 things that we can improve by 1%. So that we maintain those habits over time, we will improve holistically as players. And some of that includes playing in a chair that is spectated by a room full of people. And we've had that opportunity last fall with our showcase event.
That's the most
That's the
well
best
thought
answer
answer
that
I
I've
think
got of that.
we've
Yeah,
gotten. Yeah.
that's awesome.
No,
I
I
love
mean,
it.
the scary part of that is I don't think I'd want my professors watching me because like if I do bad, then they're like, "What are you spending so much time on when you're not doing my homework? That like now you're losing."
As much as I love these guys, the one thing I slight them for the most is that when they are playing, we have a few jaws drop open. We have a couple that go a little slack jaw with, like, comms are great. They're all talking, but when it's not their turn to speak, you just start to see that jaw while in the middle of while they're playing. Their mouth
Yep.
just slowly opens. And I tease them for it all the time. They're excellent players, but I'm like, you just have to keep control of your mouth there.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, the third question we have for you is, and you kind of talked about it there, like with the immunity. How do you or your players even manage the pressure and expectations that come with an event like this?
That's a good question. So for us in South Carolina, it is a long drive. It is a long drive up to Virginia Beach. And so for those who have lesser experience going to LAN events, and a lot of these guys were competing in high school, so LAN events are not atypical for them. Going with this group of people is new because we only go to 1 or 2 events a year, your event being one of them, we're proud to say. And last year we didn't perform very well. And we are coming in to this event with that history in tow. We know that we are coming back to a place where we came in and performed poorly. We drove in all day, performed poorly, and then had to drive back with that weight, with that burden. And so
Yep.
some conversations followed. What are some things that we did? And mechanically, yes, some observable mistakes. But there was also a mental piece there. And I think that that's a part of the question that you're asking. What are some things that we can do to prepare for the mental stress or the anxiety that comes with we're getting ready to go back to a place where we haven't performed well, and what are we going to do to overcome that? And part of that, I think, stems from a conversation and preparing our hearts and minds for highly competitive gameplay in a game that we know all of these guys are very good at. And one of the things that they have to do, and I'm thinking of individuals right now as I'm speaking to you, and all 6 of them have something to overcome that's very, very different. We have some on the team who are emotional, they're feelers. And so they have to ensure that they can self-regulate their hearts and minds, and they can come into this with an objective, aggressive gameplay mechanic. And then we have others who are a little bit more instinctual, or perhaps a little bit more intellectual, and they are trapped in their heads sometimes, or maybe they're trapped in their guts. They think instinctually, perhaps they're more reactive, and they are going to have to also self-regulate and prepare and compare with their teammates how they're thinking so that their mentals are on track. And I guess to answer your question, the short version is, how are we doing that? We're going to take that ride up there to ask those hard questions. What are some temptations of thought that our players are going to struggle with on the way up to Virginia Beach? And how can we pray through that? How can we overcome that as a team on the way up there so that we are playing as well as we know how to play? Because last season we did not play as well as we know how to play, and I think some of those things got in the way.
Right.
Ooh.
And that actually segues really good into what I want to ask next is so you talk about the ride up there, the keeping the mental on the way up there. And it's important that you keep your mental and morale high in all of these events. Now that this is a 2-day event, I'm wondering how the team's going to try and do that going into day 2. Let's say you have not what you want to have day 1. You've got to come into day 2 with that high morale, high intensity. What would the talk look like that night just to try and keep their morale high, regardless of how day 1 goes?
One thing that I have learned from this team, and this is a mentality that my predecessor, Scotty Grigsby, taught them, that they have circled back and taught to me, and it has been a blessing to hear them say it. Um, every time we go into a game, whether we are winning, every time a match starts, that 3-2-1, they say it almost every single time. This is a 0-0 game. If we're winning 5-0, they say it to themselves almost as a chant. This is 0-0, guys. This game is 0-0. Play fast, play hard. And if they are losing, guys, this game is 0-0, 0-0. Play fast, play hard. This game isn't over. There's 30 seconds left and we're down by 2. Play hard. This game isn't over. And that is one of the ideals around which they rally really, really well that has inspired me this last year.
I feel like we need to incorporate that in our own team.
That used to be a big thing
pre-match.
when I played high school soccer. It was nil mentality all the time. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we've talked about how Collision 1 went for y'all. It wasn't what you expected. It wasn't what you prepared for coming in. What would you say your team's goal is coming into Collision on the Coast 2?
I love that because we have 2 teams, they have started this. Oh man, I'm going to call it a rivalry. Right now it's playful, but because you guys have generously allowed us to bring 2 teams, they are of the mindset that if they both perform amicably, they could be pitted against each other before the weekend is over. And I have teased them with that reality. If they will fight hard, they will have the opportunity to prove who is the stronger team out of the 2, and I want that to inspire them. They always encourage one another. When it's one team playing on stream, the other team is watching. And they always trade stats, even when they're not a part of each other's games. And we even sometimes have like a Rocket League mixer where everybody jumps into a private lobby, we auto join, and then we all jump into private chats. So we just shuffle players to get to know each other, and we love getting to do that. But in moments like Collision 2, for events like Collision 2, where these guys risk being pitted against each other in a competitive context, I think that they are bringing some heat and encouragement, heat for each other and encouragement for each other as well, because they want to see each other do well, but they also want to see who's the better team.
Yeah.
Also, I think that's a very strong answer there.
Yeah. So that would be actually really cool to see them get to play each other. Like I said, Virginia Wesleyan ODU on main stage, but I think the two CIU teams on main stage would be pretty cool to see, just to see it. But
Wait,
Part-
I have to jump in and ask a question there. If CIU and CIUB, or I should say CIU Gold and CIU Blue, I think is the names we've used.
Right.
If they play each other on main stage, who are you standing behind?
I am going to have to, I'll be taking laps. I'll be walking laps around the entire event because I want to put a hand on every single shoulder because I can think of the couple. I have a couple of players who I know they won't externalize how they're feeling. So I have those in the back of my head at all times. I'm going to walk over to them. I'm just going to unlock that power with a hand on their shoulder and just say, listen, focus. Your best friend is sitting across from you right now. Beat him. And I'm going to say the same thing to the guy across the table, and just I'll be proud no matter what. Short answer.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
So I liked all the mental answers. Now, Rocket League's 75% mental, 25% mechanical and preparation. In that 25%, how do you approach studying and analyzing an opponent before a match like this or before a tournament? Because you will find out who is in your group next Friday.
One of the practices we have at CIU Esports, really across all titles, is once we find out who we're playing, we will hunt those folks down on socials, YouTube, Twitch, to try to find some of their VODs. And that's pretty open source. I've learned that most teams are willing to share with you their Twitch channel, either for the risk of a follow, but certainly to compare notes. And in our conferences, we have a lot of strong professionals who want to compare notes, coaches who want to compare notes. So we will find them on socials and look through what they're doing and sort of assess. Now, the caution there with players who are talented, and I'm proud to say that we have players who are talented on both teams, is to not look at that gameplay and assess the win-lose from it, but to allow it to inspire you what mechanics are strong and what mechanics to be working on. And I got a couple right now, a couple of the players on blue team who are aggressively practicing their wall dashes without the ball, just moving that car and getting that wave dash, starting and ending that dash on the wall, which can be tricky if you're new to it.
Yeah.
And they are working through some of those mechanics that they may not get to employ in a competitive scene, but if they can get it under their belt between now and then, they may be able to work counter strategies against those things. So wall dashes is one of those things. And some of them are unlearning tiny bad habits, getting caught rotating ball side, right? It happens to the best of us.
Yep.
It's just it's like sneezing into your hands. Like, better, but sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
And so even the great players are doing that. And so they're working on being aware of that sooner. And those are two of the main things we've talked about here in the first couple of weeks of scrimmages in spring.
Awesome. Well, those are our general questions done. And you have definitely set the bar high for both of your teams. So I'm gonna ad lib my first question here for for y'all. You mentioned a lot about the drive up, and I want to go. And you said you have a long travel ride. Is there any travel hijinks that goes on with CIU? Is there a playlist that is made for the travel up? Like, is it high vibes? Like, how would you describe the travel for CIU?
That is a great question. I really wish the answer was more interesting. CIU Rocket League CIU Rocket League are a bunch of introverts. They climb into that van and they all plug in. And I've got one side who are hip hop enthusiasts, and I've got other side who are rock and metal enthusiasts, and they all love each other. But that ride up there, unless we're stopping to eat, they are all plugged in and listening to music. It is a
Yep.
quiet ride for Coach, man.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
that's about it. Well, I don't know. We're a little different when we travel. We kind of just put on some playlist and eat food
we
the whole
we
time.
blast the music, and then we're like
We've
like
got
some of us are
a
singing, some of us are laughing at jokes people are cracking. Yeah.
yeah. It's funny
But
because
maybe
we're all introverts too. It's weird
yeah.
how all introverts are different too. I actually really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because it almost feels like your team, like that's their lock-in time. Like they're in the zone, they're in their music, they're getting ready and going. So maybe that's the aspect they take from it.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-reflection, and when we're practicing, when we're warming up for scrims, when we're warming up for games, there is a lot of quiet, there is a lot of introspection, and because that ride is 8 to 10 hours, depending on how many times we stop, there is space for them to be thinking through opportunities. And a lot of times when we get to that hotel, some of these guys will crack out laptops um, just to try to keep their fingers warm, even though that
Mhm.
hotel is doing them no favors. But like,
Yeah,
nevertheless, they're thinking about it, and I'm proud of them for that.
yeah.
Awesome.
I've got one more before I let Brandon get into the big question that he's been asking everybody.
Okay.
What are the expectations this time around?
Well, a lot has changed. So the last time we came up, um, I had been on the job for a week,
Ooh.
and my predecessor was mentoring me into the role and showing me a lot of the procedure and protocol around traveling with the team. And so I was careful not to weigh in too much on Rocket League strategy. I wanted to be a hype man. I wanted to be the guy that hugged and prayed for these guys, and sort of that encouraging voice, whereas Coach could do a little bit more of the heavy lifting in his role. But this time it's me, and we are bringing two teams, which means we're bringing three people who haven't been to this before, or who haven't played at it before.
Hmm.
Um, and so I want to take care to ensure that I meet the needs of the heart of the individual. Because I have some who are going to come up here and say, "Oh man, this is a great time to have fun and make memories with my buddies," which is true. But we have to ensure that we're coming up here to win and to set a good example and to represent our school and our savior well. And we are going to be intentional about that. Um, we didn't win a game last year. This year, I'm going to set us a goal of going into day two and going into day two strong and as a threat.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's a very fair goal. And I'll post this message in the chat too in the lead up to this so you can read it while I'm speaking here. But this is a list of teams that are all coming this year. Some of them are
Okay.
old faces, some of them are new faces. Would you, and this is the big question I've been asking everyone, and we've gotten a lot of mixed answers to this. Do you want to shout any teams out? Or do you want to lay down the rule and call some teams out that are coming to this event and put them on notice going into these last couple of weeks leading up to it?
You know, I'm going to assume the best out of all of these teams. I know that they are training hard. They're going to bring their best players. They're going to bring their A game. And what I hope is that when they get here, they are going to give us the best they've ever done so that when we win, it feels like we have really crested that mountain. We have really overcome a good team. I see a list of teams here that we've played, and some teams here who have beaten us, and some teams here that we have beaten. But that doesn't mean anything because these players, they care about what they do and they are going to be improving. And those that we beat last year, either in scrims or in NACE or in other contexts, I bet that they are bringing a stronger strategy than last year, just like we are. And I hope that they do.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate your time tonight. This has been a really fun interview to have, and we look forward to hosting you up here for Collision on the Coast too.
Well, guys, thank you so much for the opportunity to share my heart and my passion for CIU esports. If I can serve you in any other way, you just reach out. You guys have a killer night.
Well, you too, brother.
Thanks, you too.
See you guys.
Awesome.
My name's Tyler Franke. I'm a fourth year senior here at Lebanon Valley College. Um, you know, uh, nothing too much going on. Been up and down, as I said. Made roster changes. Um, Students graduating, students coming in. So, we have that to look forward to.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, I guess I'll stick to the trend of asking the first question we have on the night.
Might as well.
And that'll be, how long has LVC's team that's traveling down to Collision on the Coast 2 been playing together?
So this specific roster has been together for this will be the second semester. It's been like a different mixture. We do tryouts every semester. Actually, one of the players that's on the team now, this is his second. This will be his first time down at the LAN.
Okay.
But it's his second or third semester on varsity, our first team. And a fun fact about it is, I before both of us came to the college, he's 2 years younger than me. Before both of us came to the college, we were on some like random competitive team with each other back in like 2019, 2020.
I
And
love
you had
it.
no idea he was coming to your school until he showed up probably at tryouts.
No, it was like the end of my second year. He shot me a text. He's like, "Hey, do you remember me?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I think so, man." I was like, "How's it going?" He's like, "Oh, I'm like at your campus right now touring. I was wondering if I could play Rocket League for you guys." It's like, "Oh, and he's been playing ever since."
That's
Awesome.
solid.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to like lands and stuff, you guys came down last year. Are there any like specific preparations that you undergo to get ready for an in-person event rather than an online event?
So, I think one of the biggest things that we worry about is like just make sure we're in like the right mental to like be able to travel and like play at our level. Because and like in our heads, like a lot of us are like, or when we show up and play on a different computer, are we gonna play the same way like we normally play, or are we gonna like let that get in our heads and like feel like we're too heavy or too fast? Um, so we try to stay like calm and collective and make sure we're not like freaking out or being anxious about it.
Yeah.
We just want to show up, we want to have fun, we want to perform, and you know, we of course want to win, but like we're not gonna let ruin our day, if we don't. So we're just gonna go in, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna play our best, and if we play our best, that's what we're looking for.
All you could ask. Speaking about just like what you expect of the team, um, how would you expect to manage the pressure and expectations that y'all put on yourselves coming into the sequel event?
I'm be honest. I don't know if you guys remember, but the crowd chanting LVC last
I was
time,
just talking to him
Yeah.
about that.
that was pretty crazy, And my other two teammates are no longer with us. They both graduated. Um, but I remember like later that night, like when we're just trying to like calm down, chill, because we had to drive home the next day.
Oh.
We're all talking. We're like, we felt the vibrations through our feet coming through the stage, and like we could hear like the crowd was so loud we could hear it all over like each other's comms, and we're like, how do pros do this? Like
Yeah.
we were kind of like, it was so like there was like probably 25 seconds in that game where we were just trying to like figure out how to block it out,
Yeah.
and it was so surreal. But once we got adjusted to it, we're fine, and we kind of like it definitely helped us amp this up. But like, I think I got to try to help the other two guys, get them prepared for something like that. Because I think that was the most pressure I personally felt the entire event. So like, I think if I could help prepare them for it, I think that pressure won't be that big of a problem for us, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, y'all brought very good Rocket League, and I think that's what got us all chanting. Like, I remember being a part of the crowd for that, and I'm
Oh,
like, oh my
yeah.
gosh, we got to get behind them. Like, this is the game that everyone's watching right now.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Yeah, and honestly, like the crowd doing that is definitely a huge morale booster.
Mhm.
But let's talk about when the crowd's not doing that. How do you try and keep team morale up, especially in like this year's tournament's 2 days? So like if you have an okay day one, but it doesn't go exactly how you planned it, how do you try and keep that morale up for day two?
I think the biggest thing, like we we definitely have had our troubles with like our mental barriers.
Mhm.
Like just here, like we have a little esports room here on campus, and um, we've we've had these problems with like the other teams. Like we have like a siege team, and they sit on the other side of the room from us, but we sit in the middle, so we can see everything going on behind the monitors. So we kind of got used to just like locking in on the screen, and
Yeah.
so if there's like too much going on behind the screen and the crowd's not with us, they're against us, or let's say a bad like um we're having a bad game, like we're able to just completely zone in on the screen, not see or hear anything outside of it, and I cross my fingers that my guys don't fold under the pressure there, but that's what I'm hoping to help them prepare for.
Yeah, I want to branch out real quick because I know it's always a conversation of how you sit at LAN, how you orient your team. Well, since there's two guys that haven't been at a LAN situation before, are
Mhm.
you going to be sitting in the middle to try and make sure you can have a hand on one of them if you need to?
Yeah, and that's definitely like we find that all important, the three of us, that um as like I'm the captain for the team, even if I'm not feeling 100% mentally, they like if I'm not there 100%, they fill in, 25 they have to if I'm feeling 50, and I believe that's the most important aspect for our team is that we always got each other's backs.
Yeah.
Well, we know Collision on the Coast 1 went decent for y'all. Y'all had maybe not even in your maybe you thought it could have gone better, but I mean, you mentioned before that crowd pop. I think the crowd was
Mm.
entirely behind you come that George Mason game.
Mhm.
Um, what would you say for this year, Collision on the Coast 2, is your team's goal?
Honestly, we want the chip, but I think we really want to prove to ourselves that we've grown. Obviously, the other two are gone, but we think that like they're still kind of with us, that their progress is still with us. We wanna still be able to like top that performance. I think what we finished fifth place, tied fifth, I think it was, or
Yeah, I
tied
think
fourth.
tied fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the biggest things we want to improve on is endurance, because like we won the first round, and then we toppled, what's it, New
UNH, New
Haven,
Haven. Yeah.
New Haven, which was, and we swept them, and it really wasn't a close. We're buddies with them, and we thought we were gonna get cooked. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
But when we swept them, and like none of the games were close, we were hyped. We were riding that high, and then running right into George Mason. We were confident. Some of the George Masons, I think, like their Valorant players were behind us, and they were trashing on us before the game started. So we're even more pumped up, and then we went in that series, and like I'm not gonna lie, like, yeah, I think we ended up getting swept, but like we made every game close. Oh no, we won one game.
Yeah.
You did win one. That was
Yeah,
the only game George Mason lost at LAN was that defeat to you.
we had that high. We were flying, and then no, it's pretty obvious that we crashed right afterwards. Um, but I think that we were so hype, and you know all of our energy, we just lost it after that win. We put everything mentally we had into it, and then we really didn't stand a chance. Me personally, my endurance was about a zero in that next series against Kings. I barely could do anything for my team. So I think proving that we have endurance and we build up more and we can stand and play more is very important to us.
Yeah. Endurance is going to be a key thing. Considering the group stage, you'll be playing each team twice. Day
Yeah.
one. You find out who's in your group next Friday. So how are we going to approach analyzing and getting ready for those opponents? Are we going to be looking at them at like film ahead of time? You think so? Yeah.
Of course, yeah. I'm going straight to ball chasing. I'm pulling up their recent games. I'm pulling their scrims. Of
Yep.
course, and I've always been huge on that. I'm obsessed with ball chasing. Ask
Lord.
any of my guys. Like I'm like we have just a random game on Friday. Bang, I'm on ball chasing, looking at their most recent game, looking at their stats, looking at who shoots the most, who to lock down, who to demo the most on defense. And you can bet that I'm going to be doing that for the other teams as well.
Dang, he seems like he's got heart. He's already locked in, ready for that. As soon as the
Yeah.
groups drop, he's gonna be tuning in.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna try to get that 0-second delay on the live stream. So the next thing you know, search
Yep.
history, ball chasing, yada 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 team.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm gonna I'm gonna probably be up all night, and then like I'm gonna text my guys at 4 in the morning and be like, all right, guys, this is what we're gonna do.
I found the strategy.
But yeah, so now we go into our team specific questions we have for you. And you know what? Since I led off with it with CIU, I gotta lead off with it here. I'm assuming you all drive down to the event, correct?
Yep.
So, given y'all have, I think it's what, like maybe between 5 and 6 hours to get down here, or something like that.
Yeah, and even the last time we took a little scenic route, we went down like Delaware or something like that. On the other
Oh,
side
you
of
went down the
Chesapeake.
peninsula.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, what is the team vibe on the team bus, the team car? Is there a playlist y'all put on? Is there something special that y'all hype yourselves up with on the drive down?
Of course, of course. So last time, me and Faithful, I don't know if you guys remember the name.
Yep.
We started a Spotify playlist, and like the week before, we're just listening to like random playlists. We're like, oh, that's fire. We're putting that in the song, like that song or the playlist. Oh, that song's good. That song's good. Whereas like we made this like it's probably like 5 hour, 6 hour long playlist, and we just blasted the entire way down. You know, vibes were amazing. You know, we got to the hotel, we're still blasting the music, and
Yeah.
you know, it was amazing. You know,
That's a lot like our car rides when we go anywhere.
Except it's
Yeah,
just
no,
one big playlist. It's just big booty mix the whole way.
Yeah, check that out if you need any songs. Big Booty Mix.
There you
There's
go.
like what 20 of them now, or
Oh,
like
I don't
30
know.
of
You'd
them?
have to ask Garrett.
There's a
I
lot,
couldn't
but
tell
it's
you.
like what they're each like an hour long, like just mashed up, like back to back, like pop culture songs. Like it's real
Yeah.
good. But yeah,
it's funny.
So, the last question I'm going to ask, it's team specific before we get into the big thing that we've been asking everybody. You
Okay.
guys had a good, in my opinion, you had a good showing, first collision. You went to that match against George Mason, who, beat them. You beat them one game. You took a game off of them. You're only team to do that, so you can hang your hat on that. I know you said you were riding the high going into that. Did you guys prepare yourselves mentally for that? And then as the day went on, you talk about fatigue. How much more difficult were those matches going into the later hours of that day?
Am I repeating the first part of the question?
Yeah, you're good. Just how did you guys prepare for the George Mason match? I mean, you're the
Okay.
only team that took a game off of them.
I'll be honest, we didn't. We thought we were gonna lose New Haven. We thought it was gonna be a close series, but lose. So like we weren't really preparing past New Haven. I'm gonna be honest.
It sounds a lot like our A team with King.
yeah, we had a very similar path of where we took down King A, and we're like, our plan was to lose. So
We didn't know what to do afterwards.
Oh yeah, that's exactly. We were preparing for New Haven. We studied them beforehand. You know, they were the juggernauts for us in the tournament. You know, I think we stopped scrimming them about a week just to keep it professional. So like, but like even before then, when we were scrimming them, like they were smoking us. It wasn't close. Like,
Right.
they were styling on us. They were double flip resetting on us. It was not close. Any of the scrims weren't close.
Mm-hmm.
So like when we went in there and we just like we smoked them, we were like, all right, guys, what happened? Why did we win?
Yep.
So when it came to George Mason, we're like, these guys are going to be at least like double, like twice as good as like New Haven. What are we trying to do? And like, I can't exactly remember what Faithful would have said, but he probably would have been like, let's just win,
It sounds like this
And then-
guy's coaching.
And then
Whoa.
Magars would have been like, sounds like a good plan. Let's just go out and do that. And every single goal that went through, and now it was like one minor mistake that we made, and we're like, oh, why did we do that? Like that's easy. Like come on, like we can still play against these guys. And so like I feel like we slightly made a new game plan after every goal they let in, and I felt like every single game plan that we made, it was getting towards the right step. And and then when we, it might have been a little bit of a lucky 50, but when Faithful scored that OT winner, we're like, okay, we got the key. We were hype, and I think it was probably like halfway through that next game or something like that. We're like, it started dying off, where the fatigue was hitting.
Yeah.
But to answer the second part to that, the fatigue, man, it hit us like a truck. It came out of nowhere. Like we fell off that high, like we went off a cliff.
Yeah.
And and I know I definitely like I was pretty upset about it afterwards because we had such a good run, and like my teammates were proud about what we did at George Mason because obviously, like you guys said, no other team brought competition to them like we did, and but I was like, oh, we could have had it, like we could have played better, I could have played better, and like I didn't know if you guys would host another one, but I was like, no, if I come back, I'm gonna come back better than when I left.
Awesome. And that's a very good transition into this last question I've been asking all of our teams. I will post it here so you could at first-hand view see the list of teams registered to compete again. You see New Haven on there. George Mason's coming back. What, if any, teams do you want to shout out, give good words to, or a lot of teams have been picking the or option here. Would you like to call any teams out to round out this interview to put the what lay of the land down coming into Collision on the Coast 2?
Was it UCF, University of Central Florida?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Well, that's on the other side of the country. Anyways, I think we, new roster. They don't have the strong urge to beat the teams I want to beat. They haven't played them on land like I have. But I think that I want another shot at GMU. Honestly, I may get this shoved back in my face later on, but like I wanna show that I came back and I was ready to beat them, like unlike I was last time.
Could have two chances in groups, and who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys better not like purposely place us, trying
No,
to,
no, 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 no.
We've got
It
so
will be
many
no
things we've got to
corruption.
purposefully place. Don't worry.
we, yeah.
you know what? And you know what? Can I call it two teams? I
Yeah.
want New Haven
Yeah, you
too.
can.
I want New Haven too.
Awesome.
They made land. I forget what the land was called. I forget what
Was
the
it
land was.
CECC Boston?
Yeah, they made
Yeah.
that, and we could have made it, but like last second had to like forfeit the last qualifier match, which like it sucked because like one of our players had to go home or something like that for like some family emergency. We had to forfeit it, and they were a part of the teams that went, and we are like, that could be us, man, and like we were kind of we were upset about it, and so I want another chance to take them on land too. We're buddies with them outside of Rocket League, but I want to take them. I want to show them that new roster, they're gonna get the same result from us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate your time here tonight, giving us the answers we need going in, prepping for this year's event, and putting a couple teams on notice, which was expected. So now we want to say thank you, and we look forward to seeing you down here again in about this would be Championship Sunday in a month's time. So
Oh, man.
yeah, short amount of time coming up, but we're looking forward to having you down here.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, no problem.
See ya.
Yep, we'll see you later.
My name is Griffin Horchak. My in-game name is Mango. I play for Shenandoah University, and currently I'm a 1700 player.
Ooh, awesome.
Did
well,
it?
yeah, he did it. Yeah, we'll get for those of viewing. You probably have no idea how long this took to get the intro out, but we did it, and we're here now. So I'll keep the streak up of asking the first question here. With the Shenandoah team, how long has your specific group of players been playing Rocket League together?
Let's go. Oh, probably less than 4 months.
Jeez, new team.
Yeah, I think we literally started like the first week of competition because like we tried to get together and we were able to play like one scrim against like Radford or something, which we did pretty well. I think we dominated them in that scrim, but like other than that, yeah, no, we've only been playing together for like 4 months.
Fair.
So when it comes to, lands, right? They're different than online things. Are there any specific preparations that you guys are gonna, undergo to get ready for this?
For lands,
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest thing, in my opinion, is breakfast before LAN. Can't go in on an empty tummy.
Yeah, that's very true.
We recently went to MAEC LAN. We got top 4. Hit up McDonald's. Had a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit mid round against ODU. It was No, but I'd say preparations definitely breakfast. We talk a little bit of strategy, but really, honestly, like any team that like knows us really well, like especially ODU's team, like we're like a really chill team, so we just kind of like mess around a little bit. That's about it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's all about the vibes, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So, seeing as y'all come in with this chill attitude, how would you say you expect to manage like the pressure and expectations that you set on yourselves coming into an event like this?
So speaking on the expectations, we first were like, okay, our goal is to get to MAEC land by spring season, like because we did not think that we were gonna click as quick as we did, especially since like when my teammates came in, they had never hit GC before, but they'd also never hit or never played on like a competitive team, and then like after a month of playing on a competitive team, one of them hit 1650 and the other one hit 1500 something. So I mean, like expectations wise, I don't think that we set a lot of expectations for ourselves because we don't know like how high our boundary is yet. What was the other one?
How would you manage like the pressure of an event?
Oh, we don't have pressure. I'm not gonna lie. We don't. Yeah, we don't really like. We don't really like worry about the pressure too much. It's more like everything is just kind of like fun. I don't know. We don't really like have that much pressure on us, or at least I don't. At least.
Honestly, that's a fair answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So with this year's land, right? It's a 2-day event. Let's say I don't know how you guys do with morale, but let's say you have a subpar day 1. How do you guys keep that morale high for day 2?
Well, we're really good at prepping ourselves for our opponents. So, like, if we go into a game against like GMU, West Virginia, we're like, okay, we probably are not going to win. Most likely, what is our goal for this game? Like, hold them to sub 4 goals every game. Maybe take a game or two off of them, so that way, like, or when our like, we are closer to that goal rather than winning the game. But when we go into a situation where it's a higher ranked or like a more evenly matched team against us, we do everything that we can to kind of prevail, I guess you could say.
See, that's fair. Yeah. And so, would you say you have any specific goals coming into Collision on the Coast 2 for your team?
I think last year, I think we went 1-2. I think we lost our first matchup, beat some team, and then lost to ODU. So maybe have a positive record. I would like that. If we could go like 2-2, something like that. But no, because like both of my teammates that I have now, the MAAC LAN was their first ever LAN. So it's really just honestly, it's more about the experience, I think, for us. But it's also, I don't know, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
So with the group stage being announced next Friday, you will play everybody in your group twice. When you get that group stage announcement, how does the analytics process start? How does the studying of opponents start?
All right, so for me, especially when I play, because I'm a very analytical person, I base everything off kind of statistics. So I'll kind of like go back. I mean, I'll go to find out what leagues they play in, check their records against certain teams that are like similar to teams that we have played, because we scrim a lot of different teams. Not often do we have a team that we scrim like multiple times. But I don't know. Every time we go into a game, I'm like out myself. But like I stat check people like 3 times, like the day before.
I do it too. Don't worry.
Yeah. Because like someone will, no joke, someone will check my stats or where it says like, because I don't play rank that much, I mainly just scrim. Where like my ranks are right now are like 1575, like right at GC2, and then they'll load into a game with me, and I'm like a 1700 player. So it's just kind of like you need to know, like based off of past matchups, what they're able to do, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So, would you
And
say you're on ball chasing a lot?
I'm an avid ball chase user. Yeah, you could say that for sure.
Honest.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Aye. So now here we get to these key team specific questions that you were a little bit afraid of going into this. So speaking of your 1-2 record at Collision on the Coast 1, it was actually an early exit to the University of New Haven.
Yeah.
Do you intend on getting some revenge on New Haven this year because they are in fact returning?
All right, we have a better team than we did last year. I'm a out it. I got told I played really well in that match. I also played Skyline for all 4 games, so yikes. But no. I mean, perhaps. I know their team at the time was like, I think they were like GC3, GC2, and my team was like GC3, GC1, GC1.
Mhm.
So like, it's kind of interesting to see. Like right now, I say our team is probably like GC3, GC2, GC2 skill level wise. But we just had our first scrim today against I don't even know, some random college from Ohio. But no, I mean it'd be cool if we got matched up against them again. But I definitely like, I don't know, I'm a type of person that like wants to play as many teams as I can. So I think it'd be cool to get some new teams in there.
Yeah.
See, yeah.
So the last team specific question I want to ask
Mhm.
is
Well, you're forgetting the part where you say before my big.
well.
final
Oh yeah,
question.
hold on. Sorry. So the last question I want to ask before Brandon asks his question that he's asked every team.
No.
He dropped the Dr. Pepper cap. That is.
No, yeah, drop the cap. Yeah, continue. I'm listening.
Do you see Collision on the Coast too? There's a couple Virginia schools coming here. Do you see it as a place where you could cement yourselves Rocket League wise as one of the better ones in Virginia?
All right. Rough take. I'd say we're top 7 Virginia. But that's definitely like we also haven't played every single college. Like we've never played Mary Baldwin, I think, is in Virginia, and we've never played them.
Does Mary Baldwin have a
They have a team?
I don't know. I thought they did. I used to play I played against some guy in high school that went to
Oh.
Yeah, but who knows? Anyway. But I mean, I definitely think it's a good opportunity because it's local and there's going to be a lot of Virginia teams there. We can see how we stack up against some teams that we haven't played. But I don't know. Like I said, every LAN for us is just kind of, I don't know, an adventure, I guess I should say.
I mean, there's technically, I think there's, right, Brandon? There might be a possibility. There could be a Virginia group of death, basically, if it played out correctly.
If it plays out correctly, yes, there could be a whole
Maybe
Virginia
like a George
group.
Mason, Wesleyan, ODU, and Shenandoah or something like that in a group together.
Yeah.
So let's not throw Shenandoah in there, guys. Let's chill out. Okay.
So speaking of, and this will be the final question here.
Okay.
I'm gonna post in our chat here so you can see it. The official list of all the teams coming.
Okay.
My final question to you is: you could be nice. You could shout out some teams if you want for what they've been doing, or you could do the or option that a lot of teams have been taking. Do you want to call out any teams, put them on notice for Collision on the Coast too?
Hold on. Wait. What is CIU? I don't know that. Do I know that college?
Columbia International University
Oh,
out
I've
of
never.
South Carolina.
All right, straight up. Like, no, I didn't know that was a thing. Hold on.
Oh god,
He's
gotta
in the
search
office.
up the school.
This might be the college. Hold on. Oh wait. Chat.
Oh, hold up.
Oh. Okay. Oh, this sucks. This hurts. Okay. When I was a freshman in high school, 4 years or sophomore in high school, 4 years ago. Okay, we got second in the state. All right, my high school is William Byrd High School. Okay, we lost to Washington Liberty High School, and the best player on that team, his name is Dolphin, and he plays for William and Mary. So I would love to play them, not to beat, just to like see what happens, because I've beat both of his teammates in ranked before, but I've never beat him. So I would love to play William and Mary, low key.
Awesome. Well, I guess that's technically the throwdown, the challenge, and I think it is possible that could happen in the group stage, but and in bracket, we'll see what happens. But yeah, no. If any last parting remarks from you, Mango?
Dr. Pepper sponsor me. There you go.
You know what? Hold on. What are we getting for breakfast? Day one.
Ooh. All right, hold on. Give me. All right. McDonald's, bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, 2 hash browns, and a sweet tea. right? We could go to Chick-fil-A and right, I'm gonna get the breakfast hash browns, some 6 chicken minis, sweet tea. All right, we could go Waffle House. I'll get a bacon, egg, and cheese bowl on hash browns with a sweet tea. Okay, so I mean,
You got options.
We got
He's right.
options. Yeah, all of those
you
are right
guys,
next to campus too.
all right,
Yeah.
wonderful. We're fine. We're good. Everything's there that I need.
Yep.
Awesome, Mango. Well, we appreciate your time coming on, giving us Shenandoah's perspective coming into Collision on the Coast too.
For sure.
And be sure to tune in next Friday at 7 p.m. for the group stage draw. That'll be on our Twitch page, and you'll be able to know live who's going to be in y'all's group for
When
that
is
first
it?
day. Next Friday at 7.
Next Friday at 7.
Putting it in a notepad.
Yep.
Putting it on the sticky note. Sweet.
Awesome. Yeah, well, we appreciate your time again and look forward to seeing you down here in a month.
All right, of course. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
My name is Ricardo Barrios. I go by CK Online, and I am the title manager for UCF Rocket League. So I manage both the A team and the B team, but our A team is going to be the only ones competing in this LAN. So very excited, very excited.
Oh, awesome! And we're happy to have y'all up here this time. One of the newcomers we have to this year's event. So yeah. So let's start with the first question here. How long would you say UCF's first team, that specific group of players, has been playing together?
So they've been playing together. They played together during the summer. So this past summer, and I don't know if you guys followed the summer series, but they did very well. They got top 8 in that tournament. A lot of heavy hitters. We ended up losing to West Virginia.
The eventual winners, though.
Yeah, the eventual winners. So it wasn't really that big of a deal. We were very happy with how he played. And unfortunately, last semester, one of our players from that roster was just too busy. He couldn't play. So they took a break and they picked up someone else. They did still pretty good. But yeah, they picked up Reeves again. Reeves was the one that had to drop this semester as he was a little bit more free. So we're picking up that same roster that had that success from the summer. So super excited to see how they do.
That's awesome. So are there any specific preparations that you guys undergo for like a LAN rather than an online event?
I wouldn't say there's really anything specific. I think that it's definitely something that needs to be taken into account because you're going to be playing on stage in front of a crowd, and it's a completely different atmosphere. And if you don't go in ready with the proper mindset, it could eat you up. But at the moment, the guys are pretty lax. They've asked me, they're like, "Hey, can we get like 4 scrims a week?" So I've had my job, working double time. But yeah, they've been practicing. They're looking forward to it, and they're looking to play at their best.
Awesome. Well, speaking of any like expectations you have coming in, to a LAN, Collision on the Coast. Of course, this is your first time coming. How would you expect to manage the pressure and expectations that come with going to an event like this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I haven't even been to an event like this, so it's going to be a new experience for me and for the guys. But yeah, I have to make sure to manage their expectations. They go in there obviously fully prepared. They're gonna win. Oh, we're gonna go win. We're gonna beat everybody up. But it's a double-sided coin. There's a lot of good teams that are competing, and so you kind of have to mentally prepare and say, okay, we're gonna try our best regardless of the outcome, and just make sure they don't get tilted because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a fun experience. They're going traveling to play Rocket League. Not many people get to say that, so I think it's a pretty cool experience all around.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about like the tilted stuff, and I'm a big person on like mental, and it is Rocket League is a big mental game. How do you keep their mental good in those situations and keep them like functionable?
Yeah, it's a bit difficult. Sometimes it depends on the situation, but you really have to drill in that they're doing the best they can. And let's say they're completely outclassed, like in that match against West Virginia, we almost got perfect swept. And so at a certain point in the series, we had to kind of step back and say, okay, guys, maybe we don't try to win, but let's try and at least score a goal. And they did score a goal. And so kind of taking a step back and looking at it from the outside and just seeing what more can you do and what is absolutely in your control kind of helps get the context better for the players so that they're not worrying too much about what exactly is out of their control. And there's always the right managing moves that you can make during a series, get more demos or do this in the midfield. So there's only so much that you can do, and they kind of understand that. And so it really comes down to preparing before the fact and trying to go into a match with a good mindset.
Yeah.
Cool. And so you talked about it a little bit before. Your team goes into events expecting to win it all, take it all home, bring back the trophy, bring back the cash. But what would you say your specific goal is for the team coming up to Collision?
My specific goal for the team, I want them to just, go out there and have a blast. Like I think that as long as they come out of the land having learned something and kind of bring that experience up to future events, let's say CRL, and try and get into the qualifiers for that league, I think that it's an ultimate win. Just as long as they're growing as players and they're building that chemistry and they're bonding, I think that it's great for them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, so we find out the groups next Friday. You'll find out
Mhm.
the teams in your group. You'll play each team in your group twice on Saturday, and then you'll go into day 2 in the double elim bracket. So when you find out those teams in your group, what is the process of analysis that you guys are going to go through in analyzing your opponents?
That's a good question. So what we do if let's say we have a team that we know, let's say their reputation is precedes them and they've had matches before, we will 100% go and take those matches that have been played and just replay review them. And we try and figure out how they play, any kinks in the armor that we can take advantage of. And if it's somebody that we don't have that access to, we kind of have a general sense of play. They have their play style and they kind of play to their strengths. So we go into a match, trying to accentuate those strengths of our team. But yeah, if there's any sort of video or any strategy that we can make up before, we definitely do that. Yeah, the guys are very good about that.
Awesome. Well, now we'll get into our team-specific questions, what we want to know from UCF specifically. And the one I'll ask you is, being one of the newcomers to Collision this year, could you say what drew you to competing in this year's edition? And second up to that would be, what can we expect from UCF as a viewer?
So I think what drew us in was definitely the chance to, go and compete, and mostly go and compete somewhere that's not in the state. I think it's a super cool opportunity to be able to go and fly like a normal sports team or something and go to an event. And yeah, they were really looking forward to that. And in terms of why we didn't go to the last one, we just didn't know about it, or else we probably would have came. But yeah, this event seems super cool, and they're super stoked. I think that you guys can expect us to, you know, probably do pretty well. I think the guys have set very high expectations for themselves. They want to put on a show. They want to make grand finals, and my guys are very charismatic. So you guys are gonna hopefully get a show up there on stage.
That's good. So what with it, 2 days, right? I know you said I don't know if they have much experience like traveling to lands and stuff like that, but fatigue is a big issue when you play these like really long day 1 and then you have to come back for a day 2. How do you guys think you're going to handle the fatigue specifically? Like, is there a team remedy you guys got? You got a playlist you're going to play in the morning? What's the vibe like?
I'm not sure what exactly, is I don't know what you can do exactly for a team from a team perspective, because I feel like fatigue is very much a personal thing.
Yep.
And one player can play 8 hours a day and, still be good, whereas another player might only play for 2 hours and then all of a sudden, they start to drop off.
Yep.
But I think that as long as, they get that kind of time away from the game to reset themselves, after they play 6 7 hours, I think that they can wake up nice and refreshed for it to play the next day. I'm gonna make sure that they get a nice good breakfast. I'm gonna make sure they sleep their 8 hours because that stuff's in my control. But as for their personal preferences, I'm gonna try and kind of let them just have fun and let them not psych themselves out, not get fatigued.
Little side question I have, because this was asked in our previous interview we have with Shenandoah. What is the ideal team breakfast location? Where where are y'all going to pick
The
up breakfast?
ideal team breakfast. Do you guys have Waffle House in West
Yes, we
Virginia?
Why?
do.
You
Why
do?
is that?
We've got one right next to
We
campus.
Oh my goodness, that's gonna be the spot. You know where you're gonna be able to find
Look,
us.
every team's going to be at Waffle House, is what I've come to the conclusion to.
Apparently, but no. So the real final question I'll ask, and I'll post this here so you could start reading through these names. This is a list of all the schools officially coming. These are the opponents you can't expect. You could be nice. You could shout someone out here if you want. Give them creds where creds due. You can pick the or option, which a lot of teams have gone with the or here, uh, which is to call someone out. Put the word out. Like who is gonna go on UCF's radar heading into Collision on the Coast 2?
So, let's see. Based off the list that I was sent before, I think the main team that's on my radar. Now, if you ask any of my players, they're gonna say there is no radar. They're gonna win every match 3-0. But on my radar personally, we have GMU. That is a team that we play very consistently. We scrim them every couple weeks, maybe every week, and we know that they are a very talented team. So that's definitely a team that's on my radar, and we're gonna have to do replay review and make sure that we expect to go into that match, fighting for that win. So I think that team is definitely on my radar. I have some experience with the University of New Haven, so I already talked to them. I didn't even know they were going, and then I was sent the list, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So it's gonna be cool to see them up there. But yeah, those are the two teams that really stuck out to me that I have history with. So yeah, I would say those teams are on my radar.
Maybe UCF can take the crown from George Mason this year. We'll find out.
Oh, did they
Yeah.
win it last time?
Yes, they
They
did.
won the-
they
they won the
only
whole thing
lost
last year.
one game in the entire tournament,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was to
Lebanon Valley.
Interesting.
Yeah, so everyone was behind Lebanon Valley in that moment. They wanted to see the Kings taken down. But no, do you have any final words before we close out this interview?
I look forward to getting out there and meeting all you guys. I'm looking forward to a show. I think that we definitely have what it takes to go up there and be your dark horse in terms of beating GMU. So having some of those teams behind us might give us that extra push to get over the edge. But yeah, I'm very excited.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate your time coming on here tonight and speaking with us, getting UCF's insight as to how they're preparing and gearing up for Collision on the Coast 2. So I'm excited to have you all up here. Y'all are one of our further schools coming. So yeah.
That's
Awesome.
all.
Thank you
That's
guys
all
for
we
having
got.
me.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see
thank
you
you.
in a month's time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Championship Sunday would be exactly a month from now. So yeah,
Dang.
gotta get gearing up.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, of course.
Yo, what's up, guys? My name's Marzi, or Alessandro. I am the captain of the University of New Haven Rocket League team. I'm SSL, 2K, 2100 Peak. I play for a non-school team as well, under Deleted XD. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Cool, awesome. Well, we're happy to have you here today.
For sure.
And to get started, the first question we have for you is, how long has the team that's traveling down to Collision been playing together for?
Not the start of this year, the start of the previous year. So my junior year, so a year and a half about. My teammate Oryx is a freshman, and then me and Winsy or Matt are seniors.
It's pretty solid. And, you know, getting that time together is definitely going to help, especially, you know, this collision with the caliber of, you know, opponents that we have coming. So, are there any specific preparations that you guys are going to undergo to get ready for an LAN event rather than an online event?
Not really specific. I think we've been to 2 lands now, counting the first one last year. And I've been less and less like, I guess you could say, nervous each time. I'm kind of like good with it now. I don't know about my teammates, but I think they've been improving at it as well. So yeah, nothing in terms of the environment. I feel like last year was probably the hardest that we'll have to get, playing you guys on main stage in front of your crowd.
Yeah.
So after that, I'm kind of like, I'm good. Ready for anything. So
Yep.
Honestly, yeah, we have a question coming later to that specific scenario. But going into the third question, how do you expect? You've talked about it actually in the last answer a little bit, but how would you expect to manage pressures or expectations that come with an event like this?
um, I think we're kind of like, or at least I'm at the point where I'm like, there is no pressure. There's kind of like last year. I might be doing grad school and stuff, and I might play for another school afterwards. But at least this is my last semester with these guys. Um, so yeah, we either win and succeed, or we lose and it is what it is, right? We're gonna do our best. And I know that I've been trying to improve in terms of like keeping us in a cool head and like a chilled state, like online and stuff. We went to one last semester in Boston for CECC, which we qualified for. And like we knew we weren't going to do great at that one. The teams there were like Harrisburg, Nichols, like teams that we're just not on the level of yet.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience. We learned a lot. So yeah, I don't feel any pressure. At least I can't speak necessarily for my teammates, but I think we're pretty confident in our ability to beat anybody. So
Yeah. How do you guys keep that morale high when it comes to these tougher opponents and tougher situations?
like I said, I think we're just confident that we could beat anyone, like on our day. For example, like last semester, the first zero qual, we were the 115 seed, and we played Rochester in like the second round, and we 2-0'd them. We beat them 9-1 the second game, and made them leave with a minute early.
That's
So
solid.
if we can do that, we're pretty confident that we can play against
Yeah.
anybody if we're playing the right way. So we're not too worried.
Honestly, that's very fair. And so some viewers may know how Collision on the Coast 1 went. Going into Collision on the Coast 2, as the captain of UNH, do you have any goals for your team?
Win
Win
it all.
Take it all?
We think that we should have beaten you guys to get top 4 last year. We think
That's
that
fair.
we kind of just trolled that. No offense to you guys, of course, but we really wanted to get top 4 last year, and we barely missed out on it. And I think nerves was probably the main factor into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we're not going to have as much of an issue with that this year. So we've also had an extra year of playing together and building chem, and yeah, we're pretty confident that we can not only do really well, but if we're playing well on the day, win it all.
For sure, for sure. So you will find out who is in your group next Friday when we do the group stage draw. When that group stage stuff is happening and you know who you're going to play, how do you guys approach studying and analyzing your opponents? Like some do a lot of ball chasing, some will try and scrim the people ahead of time. Like what's the move there?
I guess it depends on the school. Like, so, I mean, if it's a school that we've played a million times, like there's schools that we scrim maybe once every 2 weeks pretty consistently.
Right.
And there's schools that obviously we've never played before, right? So we'll kind of see just who the teams are and who is lined up against us. I think I know like a decent amount of the schools going, or at least we've played them before. Or I know a few guys on the team.
Yep.
But in terms of like scrimming them or looking to scrim them in specific, not really. I think I don't think it really benefits either team too much as people might think it does.
Right.
We might look for replays, or like if we've scrimmed them in the past, look at them. For example, like we knew how Stockton played when we played them on LAN in last semester. So we kind of kept that in mind going into it. But yeah, we don't do anything too crazy in terms of prepping for our opponents. We more focus on playing the game that we're good at, and that's what's brought us a lot of success. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is fair. I mean, when we've gone through these interviews, I think surprisingly a lot of the teams have only been playing together with their roster since like this past fall. So it
Ours
seems
being
like
one of
y'all,
them, yeah.
yeah. So it seems like even you have probably one of the more put together teams coming into Collision on the Coast too, which I think will give y'all a good advantage over some other teams. So yeah.
yeah, that's ironic because my first 2 years I had a different teammate my first 3 years. So freshman year was me and Matt and a different third, and then sophomore year was me, Matt, a different third, and then last year and this year it's me, Matt, and Glenn or Oryx our third. So it's the
Yeah.
longest we've had a team together.
That's very fair. But yeah, so now we'll get on to some like team specific questions we have for y'all. And I like asking this question because I like seeing like how teams prep like day before. So I know I'm gonna ask this one. We'll preface this first. Do y'all intend on flying or driving down this year? To Collision?
Flying.
Flying. Dang,
Yeah, we flew in last year. We definitely are gonna do that again. It's too long of a drive.
Can't be as cheap as UCF's flights. Oh my lord.
Yeah, UCF coming up. They paid $48 from Orlando to Norfolk. I don't know how that's possible for a round trip too.
48?
Yeah, for a round
hell?
trip, yeah.
I don't know. Our school is like taking care of it. I don't know the exact
Mhm.
prices, but like I know we just did the paperwork for it like last week. So
Yeah.
that's
No.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. I had to look it up just to check it myself. But okay, so given y'all are flying and you did it last year, what's the team vibe on like travel day? Like, is there like a playlist y'all create and y'all are jamming out on the way to the airport or even on the plane, like group listening? Is it all serious? Like y'all just in your own headsets, like listening to all your music? Like, how does UNH travel?
I guess we kind of all do our own thing a little bit. I got my music I listen to. They got theirs. I think I watched what did I watch? I watched a Marvel movie on the way there last time. I forget which one. On the plane, but I had to like download it on Disney Plus, and I was like, okay,
There you go.
I'll just do this for 2 hours or however long it was. But yeah, no, we're kind of chill. We'll talk a little bit here and there. But yeah, kind of do our own thing. Especially like the day of, I'm a very like get in the zone, like lock in because I played soccer for like since I was 2 basically. So every time for games, I would just be like day of lock in, listen to music right before. Um, but yeah, we're pretty chill. Kind of do our own thing. Kind of interact with each other here and there. It's really just whatever we feel like on the day of.
Nice.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've got one more before I let Brandon ask you the question he's been asking everybody. And I have a feeling I know where that question's going to go. But this one, I want to know, I'm going to change up from the sheet here. How do you guys think being a 2-day event, it's going to be a long day one. Don't know if you've been told, but you will play everybody in your group twice. So you'll play in the morning and then you'll play in the afternoon again.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. I
And
don't know.
then day 2 is the double elim bracket. How do you think fatigue is going to play in being a longer day one and then having to show up on day 2, basically doing the same format we did last year in one day?
So let me ask you this: does everyone make day 2? I don't know. How does
Yes, everybody
so
makes
everyone
day
is
2.
so everyone will make day 2,
Sweet.
but not everyone's starting in uppers.
Yeah.
So it'll
Gotcha.
be
Okay.
top
So it's
2
like
top 2 from each group will make uppers, and then 3 and 4 will make lowers.
Mhm.
So
okay. Say the question again. Sorry, I was.
How do you think fatigue's going to play in? Like, you're going to have to play long on first day and then second day.
For me, I don't get burnout.
Okay.
I could play 8-9 hours a day if I really had to,
Man, I
and
wish.
be chill. I think my teammates are pretty similar. I mean, they definitely don't grind as much as me, but like long serial tourneys or qualifiers, haven't really had fatigue in. We've done pretty well in before, so yeah, I don't think it'll be a huge factor as long as we're kind of wake up, do our thing the day of, and get ready for it. And then once we're kind of like underway, I mean, I'll be fine at least. I can't speak for my teammates too much, but I think we'll be good overall. I'm pretty confident in us.
What's for breakfast in the morning?
If the hotel has free breakfast, whatever the hotel has.
There you go.
If not, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Alright, so I'll post this in this chat here so you can see it too. So this is officially the 16 teams that are competing in this year's Collision on the Coast. Three others of these teams will be the ones in your group with you in day 1, but you could run into any of these teams in day 2.
Oh, there's no king?
There's no king
No,
this year.
yeah.
No, I wanted to meet Big Wade again. Oh. Okay, I mean
Yeah.
that's actually good in terms of us doing well because that's one less really good team we gotta play.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
they're the boys. Okay, so
So out of these teams, my question being,
ooh,
the first would be, would you want to shout any teams out for like just giving them kudos or whatnot, or, and a lot of teams are taking the or here, do you want to call any teams out from the results from last year's Collision that are going into this event? Lay down the rule for this year. What do you want to do?
I want my revenge on you guys, firstly. GMU are the boys. It'd be cool to play them because we didn't get to play them last time. Although they're really, honestly, looking at these teams, they're probably the favorite. And I don't know William and Mary. I don't know who's on that team, or Nova, or Lubbock actually. Oh, is that Schmack's team? Is that like the?
Schmacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, they're the
Schmacked
favorites then.
process. Yeah.
Never mind. Okay, so they're the favorites. Then probably GMU, and then I'm pretty confident we're better than every other team besides those two.
Really, what about UCF?
We scrimmed them last night and we slammed them for most of the scrim. So
I like
I'm
to hear
pretty
it.
confident.
We just
against them.
interviewed
Wait,
UCF's
we interviewed
manager
them
last night.
What time did y'all scrim them? Because I want to kind of know.
So I could tell you it was 7 or 8.
So before we interviewed them,
Oh no.
It was at 8 we scrimmed them.
Oh,
It's
okay,
a
so right
UCF
after.
Yeah.
Academy, right? With
No, it's
No.
UCF's main team.
Oh, really?
Their summer series team, yeah.
Who's on the roster? Because they said they were going. Their manager told me.
So their manager is coming, but with their A-team roster of Reeves, Nano Poison, and Surreal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're probably 3rd, and then I'd say we're probably 4th. So we scrimmed their academy team last night, so I was under the impression that they were going. We slammed them.
Yeah.
Their A team is definitely a lot better than them, so I'm not as
Yeah.
confident against them, but I think it's LCU, GMU, UCF, and then us right after. I think Lebanon's up there too because they beat us last year. They were the first team that beat us, so we lost 2 in uppers there. But every other time we've played them, we've slammed them. So I think it was just nerves and the day of, and I think we'll be fine this time around. So
Yeah.
Honestly, that's very fair. And calling out a lot of teams there in the process. I mean, you want your revenge against us. You want your revenge against Lebanon.
I love all these guys. To preface this, I know most of these people, and they're all super chill. Yeah, nothing, no bad blood, but
Nah.
I'm definitely confident and gonna do my best to prove
on
that.
day of, like you said, you gotta lock in, take care of business.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, do you have any parting words before we sign off for this one?
Not too crazy. I appreciate y'all running this event again. It was super fun last time, being my first LAN, so I'm stoked that we're getting to go back to it. Because we weren't too sure if we were gonna be able to for a while. But yeah, shout out to you guys for running it again, and we're excited to come. Hopefully, take some upsets, make a good run, maybe win it all. You never know. So
group stage is gonna be a fire pit of upsets. So
I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm expecting a lot of upsets that day, and I'm like, what's really cool is that we're able to stream every single match this year around for group stage.
Yep.
Because we're gonna be running dual streams, so every match will have a VOD, so you'll be able to go back and watch every single one.
That's dope. Is there do I get a sneak peek at seating, or is that not done yet?
Maybe off stream I could tell you something.
Okay. Fair enough.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time today, and like I said, if you want to chill in the call here for a second, maybe I could give you some insight.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, cool.
So my name is David Schaefer. The guys in the club call me Dave. I am the manager, first off, for the University of Dayton Rocket League team, but I step in when any of the coaches can't make it. So our head coach for our A team isn't going to be able to make it to the LAN, so I'll be stepping in for him there. Trying to think what else you were saying. Like I said, from the University of Dayton, club's been around for 6 or 7 years now, but we've really only been a competitive team for the past 2. We've started trying to ramp up getting a real competitive team in the school the past 2 or 3 years. We're finally making a lot of good progress on that. So yeah, and being invited to Collision on the Coast was a big thing towards, letting our faculty advisors know, hey, we're serious about this, and other schools seem to be as well, and want us to be a part of things. So
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you again coming on.
Yeah.
So, the first question we have for you, and you can answer for both rosters, is how long have those specific teams been playing together?
So our A team, Flyer Red, has been playing together for a little over a year now. This iteration of the roster we put together in the winter of 2023. And they've been playing really well, so we haven't felt really any need to make any sweeping changes. Our B team actually has been playing together for what was Saturday's date? We recently just made a roster change because we had a couple people say that they were interested in trying out, and ended up impressing us. So we're bringing back our captain from the B team. We moved our substitute from the A team to a starting position on the B team because we felt that he'd be getting more experience playing or having more consistent playing time. And then our substitute was a starter last semester. And unfortunately got beat out in tryouts by a newcomer. So this iteration of the roster has only been for a couple days, but 3 of the 4 players have been playing with the club since the beginning of the school year.
That's pretty solid, especially like I'm noticing more to today than the other days. A lot of these A rosters have been together for a year plus, and that's a good thing to see. Are there any specific preparations that you think teams should take prepping for an online online event rather than a LAN event?
Something that I've noticed having been to 2 LANs with the team at this point is I always notice like those first couple games them saying, "Oh my gosh, like this isn't my home setup," right? Like they're not in their chair on their monitor. So one thing that I've been trying to incorporate a little bit more is getting them on non-comfortable setups, I guess. Not to say that like setups that we're going to on or on LAN days aren't comfortable. Like obviously they're amazing setups. Like we had no issue like with the setups last year.
Yeah.
We were very impressed with your guys' space. But at the end of the day, it's not their space, you know.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing for me is just getting them used to not being in their optimal conditions, so they don't have to take a couple games to get used to the new monitor size or the difference in temperature or whatever. Like those little things when you're playing at a high level can get to you and at least throw you off until you're used to it.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing too is just being able to be there with your teammates. Because when you're playing online, at least for right now, everyone playing from their home setup, they're not next to each other. So being able to, turn to your teammate and give them a high five or say, "Hey, keep your head up," like bad mistake or unfortunate miss, that's fine. Like let's move on from it. Like that's a big thing as well, is being able to be there in person with your teammates as well as online.
Honestly, that's very fair. Cool. So, for our third question here, we have for you is how do you expect your teams to manage the pressure and expectations that come with live events?
I mean, like I said, our A team's been to 2 events at this point. They've been to this event specifically last year, so they have a lot of experience under their belt. So I'm not expecting them to be horribly nervous coming into it, because they have that experience. They know what exactly is going to happen, and they know not to panic. Because I feel like that's what really sunk us last year a little bit was just the pressure of being online or the pressure of being in person, I should say, versus online. Led them to overthink things, but they've got that out of their system, I'd say, at this point. So, yeah, the pressure of being on LAN, I think, won't be an issue. The expectations is going to be more of an issue because they think very highly of themselves. They want to have a better performance than they did last year. So I think just making sure to keep the confidence high, but within reason. Like you can't.
Yeah.
You want to come in there thinking you're going to win this. You can't be going in there not even thinking about like the teams that you're playing beforehand. You got to take every opponent for what they are, take every
Mhm.
series one game at a time and get there. I think our B team, you only have one person who has LAN experience at this point. 3 of them are first years. So it's all about just getting them that experience and making sure they're comfortable right off the bat. Like hopefully they're going to have their actual coach with them when we go. So they'll have somebody a little more familiar to them, and he's more familiar with the team than I would potentially be. So just making sure to say, all right, like this is exciting. This is really cool that we're here. Don't let it get to your head too much, in a bad sense. Like let's keep it calm, keep it focused. We'll have our fun, but make sure that we're not, getting in over our heads when it comes to living in the moment.
Mhm. So, like, when we talk about living in the moment and trying to keep those spirits high, what happens like when the spirits get low? How do we try and keep the team morale up?
So a lot of it, you have to have, was it the goldfish mindset, I think is the word for it, where it's like you have something happens to you, you have to immediately forget it. Like I'm a soccer goalie for an adult league team, so I know
Yeah.
firsthand how it feels to like make a mistake that leads to a goal. You just have to shake it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's always what I try to do when I'm behind the guys. Is if it starts to get down, this is like, all right, let's get back to basics, keep the communication up, because that's the biggest thing. If everyone starts to not talk, then it's just a spiral where it's like, all right, if nobody's talking at all, then there's zero chance to get the morale back up because nobody wants to say anything in the first place. So it's all about keeping the communication up, just trying to make them forget what might be happening. Um, just saying, we know what we can do. We've beaten teams that on paper we probably shouldn't have beat before. We know that we can compete with the best. Just keep that in mind, like one thing goes wrong, doesn't matter. Get back into it. Try to tap into what, won us an improbable series beforehand and go from
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
Awesome. So y'all have come down to Collision 1. Both your teams participated.
Mhm.
You know how that went.
Mhm.
How would you expect, or I should say, what are you, from the manager perspective, do you have any goals for your team for this year's iteration?
So I think last year, when we didn't really know what all was going to go on, like we weren't like we had done research into what teams we were going to be playing against. We knew kind of how we matched up with everybody, but until you get there, you have no idea, right? That was our first ever LAN. So I think
Yeah.
last year for the B team, the goal was to win one series, which we did, so we were happy for them. And then for our A team, it was just win as much as possible. Like we went in there thinking we could win the whole thing, knowing that we were facing some very, very good teams. So you're trying to keep it realistic. I think this year we can expect our B team to win more than one series. I think on paper, our team is better than the one we brought last year, especially because last year it was kind of a hodgepodge of different players because some people weren't able to go, so we weren't able to bring one of our actual full teams. This year we're bringing our full roster. Like we made sure that they were able to go. So they'll have, about a month of experience playing together. So I think that they'll be able to show up a little better than we were able to last year. And then obviously for the A team, we want to come out and say we're going to win it all, but we have to be you have to be at least a little realistic, right? So the hope is to win it all. I think our realistic goal is to potentially finish, top 6, top 4, depending on how the bracket shakes out. I think that's a pretty realistic target for us, but obviously we'd love to come in and win the whole thing, and that's what we're going to be gunning for.
Yeah.
Look at the confidence.
Yeah. The
Yeah, you have to be
last.
confident, right? Because
Yeah.
If you
why
don't
would you go if you're not
believe,
confident,
yeah, if you don't
That's
believe in
everything.
yourself, there is no reason to believe at all.
Mhm.
So you guys will find out next Friday who all is going to be in your group for the group stage.
Okay.
How do we approach analyzing, studying the teams? Like, I know some teams do ball chasing. Some teams actually reach out and try and scrim the teams that'll be the play or whatever. They'll try and scrim similar teams. What's the move there to study them?
So the first bit is a lot of research. Yeah, I think last year and for the LAN that we went to earlier this year, it was a more local LAN. It was just me sitting down with a Google Doc and ball chasing and looking at past Twitch streams and RL trackers to see, what's the most common roster that they play with, how good are they, and just compiling all that so we have a general idea of what we're going to be going up against. And now that we have more of a structured like scrim schedule and practice schedule, we'll start looking into different teams. I think we'll start with similar teams, but I know, like I think last night our A team scrimmaged Lebanon Valley, who was there last season. I'm not sure if they're going to be there again this season, but
They will.
They will be.
They will be.
Yep.
So yeah, they've already scrimmed a couple times over the season. So like both teams know that they're decent teams to scrim. Otherwise, they wouldn't have asked us to scrim them again. So it doesn't seem like, at least for LVC's sake, they're not trying to avoid scrimming teams that are going to be there. So I think, yeah, once we know who we're going to be in a group with, it'll be about trying to find them on Gangster, or even just reaching out to them specifically and being like, hey, let's duke it out for a little bit and see if we can put both of our schools in a better position to finish higher at the LAN.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So now we'll go into a couple of our team specific questions we have here.
Okay, sure.
Seeing as you are probably one of the furthest teams traveling for our events, do y'all fly or drive down here? That's the first part of this question.
We drive. We would love to be able to fly, but
Really?
we do not have, at least right now, we're working towards it, but we don't have the funds to send 2 teams by plane. If it was just the first team, maybe we'd be able to pull it off, but we're still relatively new. And we'd like to get as many people to have this experience as possible, because I think that was the biggest thing that we got out of it last year. It was just a blast. Like, we had so much fun going and playing and meeting people and being able to play this game in person really for the first time in a setting like that. So we want to give that experience to as many people as possible, which means we're spending more on travel, we're spending more on hotels, because we just have multiple people there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we drove, which was.
And so, how long of a drive is it?
On Google Maps, I think it was 8.5 to 9 hours, depending on traffic. Ended up being, I think, an 11-hour journey, because we're stopping every now and again to get food or go to the bathroom or swap drivers, because we don't have one driver going the whole way.
Yeah.
And so is it like a team bus sort of situation, or is it multiple cars in like a convoy situation?
Team bus kind of thing. We're able to rent a big enough van through the school to get us there. So it was a tight squeeze. You got 7 college dudes, and it's essentially a Honda Odyssey.
Yep.
The smallest person in the car kind of gets the short end of the stick by sitting in the middle of the back the entire time.
Seat.
Yeah, which was unfortunately me for most of the time last year. But yeah.
And so my overarching question to this is like, what are the vibes in the Honda Odyssey? Like, is there a group playlist that y'all put together for those 9 hours, or is everyone kind of like zoning in, own headsets on, like just jamming out the tunes?
I think it kind of depended. The first or the ride down, I think everyone was kind of doing their own thing. We started out chit-chatting along the way. And then as the ride got on, we all kind of just went and did our own things. Most of the guys slept, honestly, just kind of gonked out in their seat. Which I think was fine. The person up front with the driver tended to stay awake and provide the driver a little bit of entertainment, because being behind the wheel for 3-4 hours isn't the most ideal thing.
No.
On the way back, actually, it was Championship Sunday for the 3rd regional for EU in RLCS.
Yep.
So we were watching that on the way back, which was kind of nice, because we just like put the phone on the dash and had it connected to the speaker, so everyone was listening to it. So we were able to talk about that. I know for for me personally, two of my favorite teams were in the playoffs to get to the LAN in the first place, so I was super invested, which I think the guys got a kick out of, just watching me freak out, trying to hope my teams didn't choke. So yeah, I don't know. It just kind of depends. I think how we did in the tournament helped a little bit as well, because like our B team was pretty happy, so they were down to kind of chill, especially on the way back and talk. A team was a little disappointed, but once everyone got in the car, the vibes were pretty good.
Yeah. So
That's fair.
this year being 2 days,
Mhm.
I don't know how tired you guys were after last year's. I know I was tired after last year because playing at LAN is a different kind of experience. This
Mhm.
year, day one's going to be a pretty lengthy day. And then you have to come back because every team's going to make day two. How are we going to try and handle fatigue? What are we getting for breakfast those days? How are we doing that like recuperation process?
So I know the hotel that we stayed at last year, which more than likely we're gonna end up staying at again this year, because that was also through the university. They had like a free continental breakfast, so we were able to do that and fuel up before the LAN day last year, which was appreciated. Yeah, the second day it is going to be interesting, because the last 2-day LAN that we played in was a more local one, so we were able to drive there and back on the same day.
Yeah.
So we were able to sleep in our own beds, go scrim on our own setups for a little bit after the first day. So I think what it's really going to end up being is just trying to make sure that everyone's back at the hotel at a reasonable time. Like maybe we'll go get a light dinner somewhere, but it's not going to be anything super crazy. Gonna try to keep it like maybe we'll scrim a little bit if everyone brings their laptops. I know we did that last year. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that falls on me and the other coach to make sure that the guys are, making the right decisions, not staying up super late.
Yeah.
But I think from a playing perspective, I'm not terribly worried about that.
Mhm.
I mean, these guys have put in long days before, and I think the adrenaline of being on stage will be able to keep them going until we get back to the hotel, and then
Yeah.
just
One of
early
my
bedtime, early rising, and going from there.
I'm personally like, and I haven't said this and I just now thought about it, is the adrenaline thing. I had an adrenaline dump between one of our last series last year for our team. I'm worried about group stage part one being during the morning and then afternoon, maybe there being an adrenaline dump in the middle of the day. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's going to be an experience for all of us to try and handle.
Yep.
Yeah, I think if the games are pretty quick in succession, then I think that's not, you just kind of soldier on through it. But yeah, if there's like a break in between, then there might be,
Yeah.
you kind of lose that edge a little bit as you relax and have to get back in that mindset.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. I personally think the excitement of it just as a whole will be enough to keep the energy flowing and just being there amongst everybody else. Seeing how excited everybody else is to be there as well. You can just kind of feed in off of that.
For sure.
Cool. And so this last question we have for you, I've been asking every team, and I'll post this in the chat. This is a list of all the teams coming down. This is the 16 official teams competing in this year's collision.
Okay.
The first portion of this, if you want, you don't have to. You could give teams kudos if you want, tell them that they're doing well. I mean, you shouted out Lebanon Valley earlier. A lot of teams have been picking the or option though for this question, and that's, do you want to like lay the law down for a team here? Do you want to call anyone out for results that happened last collision, or just going into collision on the coast too?
So I think looking at this right now, there's two teams that have kind of been a thorn in our side in a couple games that we played. I'm assuming GMU is George Mason.
Yep.
Yes.
Seeing them again. So obviously being able to take down that team that won it last year would be really cool. University of New Haven is a team. I think they knocked us out last time around, and then we also played them in our first NACE game. this season, and then almost reverse swept them, I believe, but weren't able to pull it out in that game 5. So I know the guys would definitely want to take another crack at the New Haven guys. But I mean, both New Haven and GMU obviously are super solid teams, so a lot of that is, a bit of respect coming out, right? Like,
Mhm.
to be the best, you got to beat the best,
Yep.
and they've definitely been somebody that we haven't been able to get over the hump just yet. So I think being able to beat either of those teams would be a huge boost to the confidence. I mean, obviously, I have to shout out you guys. Like we weren't entirely sure really what any of the teams were going to do, and I think we definitely underestimate. I don't think we played last year, but I think just like in our scouting, we underestimated you guys a lot last year. So seeing you guys get top 3, was it?
Yeah,
Top
it was
4.
top 4.
Oh,
We
don't
were-
worry, we weren't expecting it either.
Yeah, well, after the King A series when we won in Beverly, we were walking back, and the entire time we were just looking at each other like, how did we just do
Like,
that?
what just happened?
Yeah, we looked at our director and was
game
like,
plan went out the the game plan went out the window because we were like, we're gonna lose the King A, and then we're gonna trudge to the lower bracket, and then we were like, huh?
Now what?
Like,
well, now what do we do? Like, wait a minute.
I didn't get this far.
Yeah. And beating New Haven was definitely a odd one on our list as well.
Yeah, when we had, because we just interviewed New Haven before this. When we were talking with him, he was like, yeah, that atmosphere was so hard with the crowd, like the home crowd being on your side, all your friends being down
Yep.
there
Yeah.
chanting for you, and then we're up against that. Like, it's gonna be impossible, really. But yeah,
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big thing. So I don't think any of our games that we had on the main stage were like, they were earlier on and we weren't playing you guys, or I think we were playing like Rochester, RIT.
Who was it?
Or
I know you played some. I can't remember the
let me
name now.
look. I could look up the.
or it
roster.
was NJIT. It was NJIT.
Yes,
we
there
were
you
playing
go.
against. So I don't think they had a ton of quote unquote fans in the crowd either. So I think if we were to come up against you guys or somebody that's even closer and potentially might be able to bring in some of their friends, that would be really cool. I think, to have that kind of crowd experience.
We have. I've talked to some schools locally that are coming in, and this year they're bringing like
Yeah.
like a group with them. So there should be, once it gets down to the nitty gritty of it, there will be some big crowd atmosphere going on. So
And
it'll be very interesting.
you'll get more main stage opportunities this year too with how we've set
Yeah.
this up. You'll play every team in your group on main stage, right?
Yep, every team on main stage and every group stage game will be streamed. So there
Yep.
will be about every single group stage game available for you afterwards as well. So yeah,
Cool.
no. To wrap it out, do you have any final remarks before we log on off of here?
I think we were all super excited when you sent that email to me inviting us all back. Like I said, it was probably the highlight of our year last year as a team to be able to go to this, our first ever LAN event. We had so much fun. We gained a lot of experience. And we're coming back with another year of playtime and scrims and experience under our belt. And I think we're really looking forward to showing what we can do. Hopefully finishing higher than we were able to last year. And just, excited to be back in Virginia, back on your guys' campus. You guys were super gracious hosts last time around, and, just happy that we get to experience it again. So really looking forward to it. Really appreciate you guys putting on round 2 and bringing us back, and hopefully looking forward to playing you guys on the server,
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully this time that matchup actually happens because I want to see it. But yeah, no, we want to thank you again for coming on, and yeah, we'll definitely see you in about a month's time now.
All right, sounds good.
Yep.
See
Awesome.
ya.
You have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
So, hello, I'm Dominic Allen. My game name is Alter, and I represent Nova.
Cool. Awesome. So the first question we have for you, and I know this roster is probably going to be new coming down here to Collision. But if you don't know this, it's fine. But how long has the Pacific, and you can go into the fall roster too, how specific has your group of players been playing together?
So we recently just lost our third. So, because we are a community college, so we swap out rosters every so often, right? It's pretty recent. So we just picked up 2 new people, and we're gonna be trying them out. we've played with them and ranked or whatever, trying to get the chemistry up. But so right now it's just me and another guy who have been playing, and we have another grand champ coming in. So we'll see how we do with that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Hopefully tryouts go well because I know there's actually been a healthy mix of teams that have been playing really long together, but then like some that are trying out, like our team hasn't played together too long because of Brandon's graduation and other things like that. When it comes to online versus LAN events, are there anything preparation wise that teams should do differently, you think?
It's definitely focus on keeping up the comms because when you're under pressure versus online, when you're on LAN, it's much more pressure and it can get really tense, and that's when the comms start going away and you get more in your head, and you kind of just freeze sometimes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, now with that pressure that comes with LAN events like this, and I'm assuming you're the captain of Nova, would you say, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. How would you expect to manage the pressure and expectations that come with in-person events?
Um, well, when you're like kind of the like on certain teams, there are always those players that you look out for, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so when you're one of those players, it's like there's a little pressure to try to keep up and keep the team up and just like make plays out of whatever you can do, right?
Yeah.
So there's definitely a little pressure, but overall, if you just trust your team, then you should be fine.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of instances where it's like you have that one guy, and when you're scouting teams, that's a pretty big thing. You got to find out who that main person is. When you talk about like keeping the team together as a captain, when times are tough, you go down in a series or you not play how you want to. How important is it, and how do you keep morale of the team high?
Well, you have to focus on when you lose a game, you just have to focus on regaining, right? So like you know when you play your game, you can win against these teams, right? So at certain times, like you don't want the other team to control the pace. If you reset, start controlling the pace of the game, play your game how you want to play, then you just have to focus on doing that.
Yeah, Reddit is typing something.
No, we're good here. Alright, so this is your first time coming out to Collision on the Coast. Of course, we hosted it last year, but coming down to this event, do you have a goal for your team in mind? Placement-wise, performance-wise, what can we expect?
I don't know all of these teams, but based on the ones I do know, I think we want to be at least if we make top three, I think that'll be good.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
a fair
solid
bet,
goal. Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
And you know what? I actually really like the fact that it's like, well, I know these teams, and a lot of people just say like, yeah, we want to win it, but like to have a realistic, like in your mind, it's like, okay, if you set the bar low and you achieve higher than that bar, then you're going to be even more ecstatic with your
Right.
performance.
Right.
So you obviously don't know who exactly is in your group. I know you said you don't know too many of the teams, but you'll find out who's in your group next Friday. When you find out who's in that group, how does Nova or how do you approach studying and analyzing opponents before a tournament like this? Like, are we a big ball chasing user? Are we going to reach out and scrim these teams? Like, what do you guys do?
So if we find out the teams that we've played before, then we'll kind of know how to play, right? But if we go against some other teams that we've never played before, then obviously we'll look up the roster,
Mhm.
and one of our players, with me now, he was on the roster before he left this spring. He always likes to look up the Rocket League trackers, so he always knows everyone's ranks. So we'll pretty much just go based off that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The-
So you've lost your statistical guy almost, the guy that would do all the
Yeah, yeah.
research,
But
and that's
he's
actually
yeah.
go for it, go for it.
Like he's still around. He's still around. He likes to hang out with us a lot, so he'll help definitely.
Good.
That's fair. And now we'll get into some team specific questions, and I guess this leads me right into my first question because I'd been talking with Whitney now before this because he had mentioned like, hey, I'm leaving. Could he possibly participate with y'all? But with y'all losing Whitney now, how will this affect your game plan going into spring semester competition?
So the plan was because when Guiminao came in, he and I played a lot, and like I kind of coached him a lot. So basically, um, as a team, we just played how like I kind of because like I've taken points from other coaches, like competitive coaches, and just kind of bring them into the team, right? So when Guiminao came in, then I kind of did that with him, and then the plan is to do it with a new guy coming in. So it'll basically try to replace Guiminao and how he plays.
Yeah, and actually, when most teams are looking for third, you want that kind of sponge. Sometimes it's just going to absorb
Yeah.
that knowledge and figure out how you play. Well,
Yeah.
it actually leads really well into the next question. So, this is your first time coming to Collision. Do you think you have a certain play style as a team coming into this, or like when you try and mold that sponge, are you trying to mold them into a certain play style?
So you can try to mold into a certain play style, but obviously that's not always gonna work, right?
Right.
So my job, I think, is because I think I have the most knowledge. So my job is to just kind of adapt and let him play how he wants
Mhm.
and try to be in positions. I'll try to be the sponge for him
Yeah.
and them, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically how it's gonna go.
Fair. And now, I know before this, we shared our list of teams with you, and this is my final question I've been asking everyone. The first half, which you could choose to answer or not, you could shout out teams, let them know, like, hey, kudos to you, but I know the smile on your face, you don't want to do that. You could take the or option, which a lot of teams have been doing, which is, do you want to call anyone out? Do you want to, like, lay it down, lay out the challenge going into Collision on the Coast 2?
I do wanna say good luck to ODU. We played them in one of the lands. I forgot which one it was. It was in the fall though.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
But I'm friends with Just Dance, so I hope he does
Yeah.
well. And but to call out anyone, I want to call it GMU. You already know GMU. We'll
Yep.
call him out, and hopefully we beat him in the LAN.
Awesome. Well, any final remarks at all, just in general, or
Or
to
any
close this out?
questions? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's about it. I'm good.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate your time today, jumping on with us, answering a couple questions, and we're looking forward to Nova's first run down here on the beach. So, yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
no
problem.
problem. Have a good one.
You too.
Yeah, so on LCU, it's me, Dribs, and Schmacked. We're kind of a newer formed team just this semester, but we've been playing with each other for like a while online. So, um, but yeah, we're pretty new this semester. Plan on competing in CRL and stuff, and yeah, we're all SSL, and yeah, we're just excited to be here. Honestly, ready to play for the LAN.
Yeah, and we're
Excited
excited to have you here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, how long would you say you, Schmacked, and who's the third again? It just left me.
Dribs.
Dribs. Yeah, you, Schmacked, and Dribs. How long have you three specifically been playing together?
Well, we've been friends for like years, and we started playing with each other. I don't know, maybe like a year, but we haven't. We haven't been able to like set up this whole college thing until just recently. But it's been something we've been thinking about. But we have like I'd say like a year of experience with each other, honestly. But just now we're getting into like real, competitive
Yeah.
experience. But in
Turning
terms
the
of like
dial.
chemistry, yeah, in terms of just like chemistry and like being friends for like a year, I'd say.
That's good. Yeah, turning that dial to competitive is definitely like another step, especially for a friend group. Like that's pretty cool to have that happen.
Yeah.
When it comes to like online events versus LAN events, do you think there are specific preparations that teams should undergo?
Um, I think just preparing for like the nerves of it. I think that's the biggest thing because if we just play our game, it's just, all it is confidence, right? And if something gets in the way of that confidence, like nerves, then that's when it could affect how you perform. So I would say, yeah, just preparing yourself mentally to play, on stream or on stage, whatever it is. It's in a different, new environment. It's the biggest thing.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, and you said that like you have those nerves with LAN events like this.
Mm.
How would you expect to manage like the nerves, the pressure, and any expectations you put on yourselves coming into a LAN event?
I don't have too much. I don't think any of us have too much land experience, so it'll be new for us. But we're gonna go into it just focusing on each other. We're gonna have to like boost, more comms, more team play. Just make sure we're all like, playing together. We can't have one of us, get like lost, get unfocused or whatever because of whatever's going on. But yeah, we're just gonna make sure we're playing as a team. Yeah, that's about it, to be honest.
Yeah. So when it comes to like, morale and stuff like that, I'm gonna two-part this question. First part is who's gonna be sitting in the middle at LAN on main stage?
Um, I'm not sure, to be honest. Um, I think it'll be Max. That's how we normally do it. I think Max will be in the middle.
And then the second part of that is if a series starts to go like not your way, how does whoever is going to be in charge or captain in that situation, how are we going to keep that team morale up?
Um, we're just gonna talk things over. We're gonna, it's something where it's like we need to remove um any, distractions or stress. We need to kind of calm it down a bit. I think that'll, if anything, that'll be the problem. Um, so yeah, it's mostly just calming each other down. Just relax and go back to, the basics of what we're doing and try not to worry about any of the other stuff going on. I think that's the best way to go about that. Just talk to each
Fair.
other.
Yeah, fair enough. And so this is your first time coming on out here for our LAN event.
Yeah.
What do you think the team's goals are going into it?
Definitely at least the grand finals. We're very confident. We wouldn't, go all the way out there if we weren't confident in our team. So yeah, at least grand finals, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good goal to set. A couple of teams have been like, "Oh, we're gonna win it all," but like, if you set that bar at a certain point and you exceed that bar, say you win the whole thing, then you're just gonna be that more excited. You're gonna be that more pleased with how you played.
Yeah.
You find out who's gonna be in your group next Friday, 7 p.m. We'll be streaming it live on Twitch. Once you find out who's in that group with you, how do you approach the analytics process, studying those opponents? I know some teams do ball chasing, some will scrim each other. I mean, how do we prepare for that?
Um. Well, in terms of like looking at the other team, we don't do too much of that because honestly, it doesn't even matter. Like we're not at like a, no one's gonna be, way better, way worse type of thing.
Mhm.
We'll just look at the names of the players, and if we recognize them, then we'll know how they play from ranked or whatever. But we're not gonna probably do too much of a deep dive into how they play because it doesn't matter if we're playing our game, then that's what's gonna win. It doesn't matter how the other team plays.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Well, now we have a couple team specific questions that we'll get into here. And I mentioned it before how this is your first time coming around to our event. What drew LCU to compete in this year's edition of the event?
um it was just something that came up. Um, it was someone else in esports in the program that found it, and they sent it over to us to see, because we didn't even know about it, but they saw it was Rocket League, so we found out about it through someone else in the program, and yeah, we talked about it, and our coach or esports director said let's do it, and because we're confident in our team, so we're yeah, we're gonna head out there.
Awesome. And my follow up question into that is you are from Texas, so I'm assuming, are you flying out this way or are you driving out this way?
Yeah, we're gonna fly out. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Cool. And has the team of you, Dribs, and Schmacked ever traveled anywhere together?
No, we haven't. This will be our first event.
So, how would you expect the team vibes on the travel to be? Like, do you think it's gonna be just all y'all locked in your own music, or is there gonna be like a group playlist made that y'all are jamming out to? Like, how do you think it's gonna go down?
Um, I think no, honestly, I think we'll just have a good time. I've never even been out here. I've never been to Virginia. This is actually Texas is like as far east as I've ever been because I'm from California. But
Wow.
yeah, I'm gonna just we're just gonna enjoy the trip and yeah, I mean it's something new. We haven't traveled together, so yeah, we're just gonna enjoy it. To be honest.
Definitely should find time to go over to the ocean front. I think you guys would enjoy that.
Okay.
Having
I'd
a
love to.
my last question before I let Brandon, go on with his big question that he's asked everybody. Having competed in the CRL Fall 2023 season, how would the level of competition faced there prepare you guys for a LAN event since you don't have much experience?
I think just the competition, just it's the highest levels in CRL.
Mm-hmm.
Just that alone, I think, has prepared us pretty well for playing other college teams. So yeah, we're just we're gonna go off our experience and practice, and just how good we are as a team. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
We're just gonna bring that to the LAN, and yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, my last question, it's kind of like an and or situation. If you want, you can shout out a team, give them kudos for how well they've been doing. Or you could take the or option, which all teams have been taking, which is really call out a team if you want, lay down like the lay of the land, call out a challenge to a team that you want to face at the LAN, but the floor is yours.
Okay. Um. So I actually don't recognize the full. I don't know all the players on every team, but I do see that you guys talked to Ultor before this. I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
I recognize him from ranked. I know he's pretty good, so I'd imagine his team is going to be solid. And yeah, I think we'll play them.
So Brandon, I
It'll
think
be a
you
good
can name
match.
drop a couple people as well that he might know if you want to.
What he might know
Yeah.
competing at the event. You might know like Devin, Josh, or Squasher, Titanium. That's on the George Mason roster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You've got Reeves, Nano Poison, and Surreal on UCF. Martsy's the captain out at New Haven. So yeah, it should be a good few
Okay.
teams that y'all will come up against probably later in the bracket run. But
Oh,
yeah,
they'll produce some really good main stage matchups for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Those are some decent teams for sure.
Awesome. Well, do you have any final words before we sign out of this interview?
No, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate your time coming on today to speak with us, and look forward to the group stage draw next Friday night, where you'll learn your opponents for that portion.
All right, sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. Alright, so after all those interviews, we hoped you guys enjoyed a little bit more insight into the teams that will be joining us down here in Virginia Beach for Collision on the Coast 2, February 17th and 18th.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing this. Thank you to all the coaches, players. We had a variety of people come through these interviews. Make sure you guys join us on our Twitch page. I'll put the link in the description below this Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our group stage draw, so you know who the teams are going to be playing day one of the event. We appreciate you guys watching. As always, we'll see you next time on the Boosted Conversations podcast.